Boom. What's up, guys? We are live. So I'm excited for today. We're going to be doing a little debate. I made a post about this a week ago, and a few guys stepped up to the plate. So it's going to be a good time. We got two guys, and I'm going to be debating two people separately. I think both of them want to talk about fresh and fit related stuff. I think they also have other topics. So it's going to be good. It's going to be a respectful debate. No one's going to be like, putting the other person down or anything like that. But really, there's no conditions. Like, I didn't give these guys any things they can and can't do. So pretty much anything is open-ended, right? So there's no topic that's really going to be off limit during this debate. And what we're going to do is I want to keep the audience involved. So we're going to, you guys can write in the chat if you're like, oh, what about this? You should mention that. We're going to try to get to it. We'll also try to answer some of your questions. And at the end, if anyone watching this wants to actually join us and come on the stream, you're going to be welcome. So we're going to open it up near the end. But first, we're going to introduce our first guest, Hunter. So let's bring him on. What's up, bro?
Hey, what up? For the audience, I'm Hunter. I've been in the game for about 8 years. I've done a couple month-long immersion programs, one with Todd and one with Alex James. And, been out, I've, day game, night game, online game. I've tried it all. So I have a good amount of experience in the game. I don't claim to be advanced or anything. I'm not advanced. I'm probably like mid, intermediate level. Cool. But yeah, I've seen a lot, and I understand game really well. And I just wanted to argue that Fresh and Fit have good game, basically.
Okay, we'll get into the argument. I just want to comment on a few things. So actually, I know Jason James really well. He's a good buddy of mine. So that's pretty cool. You did a program with him?
4-week natural. Wait. Are you familiar with it? It's like Alex's 4-week program.
Are you talking about Jason James or Alex James?
Alex James.
Okay, never mind. Okay. Yeah, I've had him on the podcast, but yeah, that's a completely different program. I thought you were talking about Jason James. But okay, so we'll get right into it. So again, as I mentioned this earlier, it's going to be a respectful debate. I want to first start off by giving you props because it takes a lot of balls to come on someone's channel and, speak your mind. A lot of people talking shit behind the keyboard, but very few come on. So I'm going to start off by just giving you props for that. All right, without out of the way, just present your arguments.
Okay, basically I wanted to argue that Fresh and Fit have game. And my argument is that because they get girls, therefore they have game. I see a lot of I like to watch a lot of this manosphere content because I find it entertaining and I like to think about game. And I see them get a lot of shit about they wouldn't get girls if they didn't have a podcast or whatever. Fresh is awkward or Myron's text game is bad or all this kind of stuff. And what I'm saying is at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. If they get the results that they are after, that they are working towards, it doesn't matter how they got to that end.
Okay.
So I think what was I going to say? I think a lot of people just kind of knock them for how they get there, and it's more of a conversation about who gets the most cool points. He led with lifestyle. It's leading with money, and if you lead with money, that's not a cool way to do it. And I'm saying I don't really think it really matters how you got to the end as long as you got to the end that you're seeking. And I think that they deserve at least some credit for getting to the end that they've been working towards.
Okay, so a few things I want to expand on here. So first of all, I want to clarify the notion that you said that they get shit because it's not they're not doing it the cool way or whatever. That's not really the reason I've ever given them shit or I've seen anyone else give them shit. The reason we give them shit is for the hypocrisy. So if Fresh and Fit said, hey guys, we made it, we got this podcast, it's getting us pussy, there's no issue. I'm not going to knock them for that. The problem is when you're saying that the reason you're getting laid is because of your game, but you're leading with money and you're getting laid because of your clout, that becomes problematic. So it's not the actions, the hypocrisy. I want to start off by expanding on the first thing you said. So you said, they have game. Do you agree with me that it's not a black and white thing? There's different levels of it. There's beginner, there's intermediate, there's advanced, there's super advanced. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay, so I think first we can't make it seem like a black and white thing. Either they have game or they have no game. We have to establish what their general level of game is. So what would you say, in your honest opinion, what do you think they are?
Overall, I would say they're like intermediate.
Okay. Then you and I have absolutely no disagreement on that front. I've said many times in videos that I personally gone out with Myron and I consider him an intermediate. Well, let me just check. Guys, are you be able to hear me correctly? Let me know in the what's it called, in the comments if my audio is good, because I think so Hunter's having a hard time hearing me. So let us know about that in the comments. So if you say that they have intermediate level of game, then you and I don't have a disagreement there, because I also would rate Myron as intermediate. And Fresh, I honestly don't have enough experience. I've never gone out with a guy, so I'm less confident commenting on his game. But based on what I've seen, the way he interacts with women, I would also put him at intermediate. So they're not complete beginners. They don't suck, but they're also not great. So I think at that point, you and I agree. Now moving on to the second.
Can I argue something?
Yeah, of course.
So I've seen you say that you think Fresh's game sucks. Okay, maybe there's something specific that you think about his game sucks, or how would you define that? What you meant?
Okay, so where did you exactly hear me say that his game sucks? I'm not denying it, but I'm just curious where you heard that.
I saw it in a YouTube comment.
In a YouTube comment. Okay. So one thing that I'm going to point out is quite often it's not me that's actually doing the YouTube comments. We have a team of people. Sometimes they get a little, I don't know, they get a little, they exaggerate a little bit. But I've publicly said many times that I consider Myron's game to be intermediate, and I typically don't comment on Fresh's game because I don't know him nearly as well. So I'm just going to clarify that right now. I would put both of them into intermediate category. But the issue that I've criticized them for, it's one of the issues, is the hypocrisy. So again, if FreshandFit is like, yo, our game is all right, it's decent, but we got this dope podcast, we worked really hard towards it, and we've discovered ways you can use Clout to get laid. I was able to get this boat, and as a result of this boat, I was able to get laid. There's no problem there. Okay, they're being upfront and honest. The problem is when, what's it called? Fresh says, oh, I this girl taking that game. And then you look at the facts and you find out, one, she's on seeking arrangement, and two, he was only able to get her on a date when he invited her to the boat. That doesn't sound like it was the game that made you get the girl. It sounds like it was your clout and your status and your money that helped you get the girl, which again is fine. I believe that, it doesn't matter how you get to the end point, as long as you're honest and straightforward about it.
Hey, so you were really breaking up there. Can you hear me well or no?
Yeah, people are saying I can hear you just fine. What's it called? The people are saying that the audio is fine on my end. So maybe do you want to try putting headphones in or something? Because I think you're going to drive yourself crazy doing that. See, because I think the problem is on your end. So see if you can put headphones in or maybe increase the volume.
Give me 1 second.
Okay, sure, it's fine. All right, so while Hunter's setting that up, I'm just gonna answer some questions. Yeah, because people are getting really confused while you're constantly doing this. So let's.
Yeah, I can hear you way better now with the headphones.
Okay, there we go. Good. All right. So, which part of the last sentence I said did you hear? Or did you not hear?
What's that? I just switched my earbud so it's in the right ear.
Okay, I will repeat the last thing I said. So I was saying is that I have no problem with someone using cloud or status to get laid. No problem at all. I'm not nearly as popular as them, but I have had some experience using my clout to get laid. I can tell you that when you meet a girl because of your clout, like because she finds your status, it is so fucking easy. And that's great. They have more clout than me. They deserve it in some ways, probably because they have a popping podcast. The problem is in the hypocrisy. The problem is if you say that the reason you're getting laid, it's just because of my game, because I have good game, but you find out that, for example, your girlfriend, one, is on seeking arrangement. Two, you were only able to get her out when you invited her to your yacht. When you were inviting her out just to hang out, she wasn't responding, and then you invited her to your yacht. That's when she needs help. That becomes problematic. It becomes problematic when Myron says, oh, you don't want to lead with your wallet. That's what all the simps are doing. You don't want to lead with your wallet. You want to run good game. And then you see screenshots of him literally using his clout and his status to try to get laid. So that's where the problem lies. It's in the hypocrisy. It's not in the actual fact that they're using the clout or the status. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, do they say, like, I kind of feel like their whole thing is like it's cool to use status. Do you disagree with that? I feel like they say it's not cool to use money, but they say it's cool to use status.
Well, they do both. They use money and status.
Okay, but
I have not specifically heard them say that. I have heard them preach multiple times how it's game, it's game. So, okay, I'm going to use an example that we all know happened. So, Academics, he was on the FreshandFit podcast, and him and Fresh started really going at it. And what he said was something like, Fresh, you got to admit, if you and I didn't have Clout, we wouldn't get most of the pussy that we get. Academics is an honest guy. He knows he's not a good-looking guy. He knows that he's not the most smooth guy, but he has a popular, really popping podcast, and that gets him laid. Fresh, instead of being like, yeah, dude, you're probably right. He got super defensive, like, no, dude, Academics, for you need that. I get laid because of my game. I know how to get that burning, genuine desire. And then you find out that he was able to get his girlfriend through, inviting her on his yacht, that she's on seeking arrangement. Again, the problem isn't the hypocrisy of the action. If Fresh comes out and says, yeah, you're right, man. Yeah, it's awesome that we have the status in the cloud. We can use it to get laid. There's no issue there. It would be like, to give you an analogy, I'm known for doing a lot of online dating, online game, right? And that's kind of been like, kind of like my shtick. And imagine you find out that I've never even downloaded Tinder. I don't have any experience. I'm dating chicks solely from seeking arrangement or solely through social circle. But yeah, my whole thing is talking about online dating. You'd be like, dude, that's problematic. Now, if I was upfront and said, hey, I got a dope social circle and that's how I get pussy, you'd be like, okay, good for him, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm not arguing that he's not a hypocrite or whatever. But so like when we talk about like genuine burning desire, I don't see why a girl can't have genuine burning desire even though you like led with money. I don't really consider a yacht either leading with money. To me that's different. But like, okay,
what would you say that is? Using your yacht to get the girl on a date?
You're bringing her into your lifestyle.
Right, but the lifestyle, it's not inviting her to ride scooters around Miami. It's not inviting her to, play chess. It's not inviting her to a local dive bar. It's inviting her to something that less than 0.01% of people have, which clearly shows off your status and money.
Sure.
Especially given the fact that the chick is on seeking arrangement. And I believe in her profile, it said looking for someone to show me the good life or something like that. I could be misquoting it, but that's the general gist of it. So clearly, and again, I don't want to go after him like personally or something like that. I bear this guy no ill will. I'm just pointing this out because of hypocrisy. But you find out that, he got her through the yacht, which in her seeking arrangement profile, she says, look, if this chick didn't have a seeking arrangement profile, you could be like, it's a coincidence. Maybe she really liked the guy and the timing just worked out that when he invited her on the yacht, she was free that day. But given the fact there's a seeking arrangement profile, it's like, come on. Like at some point, we got to call a spade a spade.
So do you feel like because she has a seeking arrangement profile and you view her as this sort of girl that she can't like him anyways?
No, not necessarily. It's not. I don't believe in extremes. I'm not privy to their personal situation. There's multiple scenarios that are possible. Maybe she's only into him for the money and the clout. That's possible. Maybe it's part of it. Maybe she's into him because of the clout, and that's what got him his foot in the door. But she also kind of likes him and finds him endearing, right? So he used the clout to get the foot in the door, to get her, and then he's able to keep her around through whatever good game. Or maybe she largely likes him, and the both thing was a coincidence. Because of the seeking arrangement thing, I rule out option 2. It's probably option 1 and 2. And I would say it's probably more likely to be option 2. She probably likes him somewhat. I don't think she's purely a gold digger. She could be. I have no way of knowing that. But it's the first option, the second option. So I don't think they're mutually exclusive. You can lead with money and clout and still have a girl who likes you. Part of the reason she likes you is because you have a lot of money and clout, and part of the reason she likes you is because you're good in bed, you're a good guy, you're funny, you're creative, you're witty.
Sure. I want to argue.
Go ahead.
want to argue about the yacht part. So like, yeah, like when you bring a girl onto the yacht, it demonstrates like a lot of like status, maybe clout, maybe you have like, some rappers there or whatever. But I also think like from a girl's perspective, it's like a cool, fun thing to do. Like, let's say there's two Freshes, they're exactly the same, but one invites her out on a coffee date and one invites her to the yacht. Which one is the girl going to choose?
The yacht, of course.
Yeah, because it's more fun, it's more interesting, it's like a better experience for the girl, right? So it's so I don't think it's just like, at least not strictly like flexing like clout. It's like, in my opinion, I mean, maybe that's a lot of it, whatever, but either way, in my opinion, that doesn't really matter, because I would say that's good game, because he's bringing the girl into a situation that's favorable for him. Maybe he's a hypocrite and says like, oh, it's just they only like him for his personality or whatever. Maybe he's a hypocrite, whatever. But I'm saying
it's a different kind of game. So game is pretty vague.
I mean it in a vague way.
Yeah.
To me, everything is game.
Yeah, it just depends on how you define game. It's a different type of game. The problem, though, here's the problem, is that they're not acknowledging that. They're making it seem like it's what they're doing, pretty much any guy can do, versus what they're doing is available to less than 1% of their audience, probably closer to 0.01%, because most of the people, 99% of the people, will never have any clout, and they'll probably be medium income at best. They're not going to have a yacht. So that's where, again, the issue lies. It's a type of game, quote unquote, that's only available to like 0.01% of their audience. Yet they're making it seem, if they just buy their DMs on the command course, that anyone can have it.
Yeah, I mean, that they could be totally hypocritical about that. I'm not arguing against that.
Well, it's a grift, because if they come out and they say, hey, listen, we were able to, do these, cool money hacks and start this popular podcast, and now we get all the status and cloud and we can do that, blah, blah, blah. So if you guys do that, then, you can have the same results as us. No one's going to buy their product at all, because people are going to be like, what the fuck? I'm never going to have, podcast or a yacht. They wouldn't buy their shit. So in order to get sales, which is what's allowing them, it becomes the circular thing, which is what allows them to have the yachts, because yachts are not cheap. They need to make it seem like it's something that's available to the average guy, like any guy can achieve this. It can't. Now, pretty much every guy can improve their own natural game and cold approach, but very few guys are going to ever have status or yachts. It's not practical for 99% of their audience.
Sure. You don't feel that they encourage guys to work up to that point, though?
They do and they don't. They do encourage people to level up and get their shit together. I will give them credit for that. What they're doing is, again, realistically going to be only possible to less than 0.1% of their population. Most of their audience. Most of their audience is just like the average guy. Maybe he's a little broke. Maybe he lives in his mom's basement, or it's just the average guy. They're not going to achieve any of that stuff. And them buying their DMs on command product, which talks about, whatever, like Instagram, messaging strategies, is going to be purely a waste of their money, because they don't have that kind of lifestyle. So that's why you have another big issue that I had was when Myron constantly says, don't lead with your wallet. Don't lead with your wallet. Don't do that. And then, when he messages Anna Quinn, what is he doing? He's leading with his wallet, right? Because there's a reason why people lead with their wallet, because it can work. It's not just purely, it's a bad look, but using status and money to get laid is actually somewhat effective if you do have status and money. If you don't, then you can't use it. So it would be like if I'm an NBA coach, right? I coach people in the NBA, and I say, yo, guys, like, any of you guys can be in the NBA if you put your mind to it. Come on, guys, you buy my product, it's going to teach you how to, play basketball like a professional player, and you guys can, also have like, results, whatever, playing basketball. But then it just turns out that I'm 6'5". I've been trained from the age of 7. I have all kinds of genetic gifts. It's like, and then you're like, oh, well, if I told you that up front, you would never bought the product. So again, the issue lies in the hypocrisy. If they want to go ahead and say, hey, we're able to achieve this cool life, like academics, I respect that, because academics says, I get pussy, but realistically it's because, I have clout. I respect that honesty. I have no problem with him using the clout to get laid. What I have a problem with is the bullshit lying and the hypocrisy.
Okay. Do you think that do you think that their course doesn't help guys at all? Like, do you think if they, I mean, I don't know if you've seen their course or not. I haven't, but I'm just, are you operating under the assumption that if guys buy their course, it will not help them at all? Because in my understanding is that uh, Myron has done like a lot of online games, so I'm sure he has something of a skill set behind it that he could teach his followers. Do you think that their course would not help guys, basically?
I don't know. I don't know if it won't help them at all. Maybe the guys will find some value in it. Maybe it won't. I just know that the course is being sold under false pretenses. That's the issue. I'm not going to say that the course won't help the guys. I haven't gone through the course personally, but I'm sure there's some tidbits of value in there. Now, I can say for mine personally, a lot of the girls that he's banged, he said he has like a 230 lay count, were from seeking arrangement, which is a different kind of game.
Sure.
I banged plenty of chicks from SA, right? It's a different kind of game than normal. And you take the stuff that you do with seek arrangement and you try to apply it to Tinder or Instagram cold DMs, you're not really going to have much success. So it's a different type of game. Do I think Myron has some basic skills? Sure. But also, I'm like, how many skills does he really have? Because when his secret arrangement profile was made public, I did a video breaking down his profile, and I see some very beginner mistakes in there. Like his first profile picture is him holding a dog, shirtless with red shoes. It's superposed by like any game standard. That's a poor photo, especially given the fact that Myron's a pretty good looking guy. He's tall, he's jacked. Like if he had more knowledge of game and what works, he would have a way better profile. Like if I was his coach and I designed his profile, I could double or triple his results just by simply using different pictures. If you look at his bio, he's trying to logic his way into attraction, which is something that he does a lot. He tries to logic his way into attraction, which is like a beginner intermediate mistake. So do I think they have some level of game or something they can teach? Sure. But are they advanced enough in order to warrant, being dating coaches? No, not at all.
Well, they're significantly better than like 98% of their audience. Is that not enough for to warrant them teaching guys?
Look, if they teach guys under honest pretenses, they don't sell their course or themselves under false pretenses, then it's up to the audience to decide. If guys are finding value out of them, that's fine. As long as the guys are, being sold under, realistic, like honest pretenses. So do I think they have, enough value? I don't know. I'm not like some kind of grand juror of pickup or whatever. I think that there's a lot of things they can improve on themselves. I think that they still have ways to learn. I think that a large portion of the results nowadays does come from clout, money, and status. But yeah, I do think they have some level of game. Whether it's enough or not enough to warrant being a coach, it's not up for me to decide. That's up for the audience to decide. But the one thing I can point out is that there's a lot of hypocrisy that's going on.
So let me ask you this. Do you think from a marketing perspective that it is important for somebody to be 1,000% honest all the time? Or do you think it's okay to kind of exaggerate sometimes in order to attract people?
So that's the great conundrum that every person who has a product runs into. How much is okay and how much is not? There's no definitive answer, but I can tell you it's not exaggerating a little. It's significant, massive amounts of exaggeration. It's not a little bit of exaggeration. For example, on my sales page, I exaggerate a little bit. I say that the vast majority, I'm trying to think of some of the exaggerations we have. Like, I think like the language I use sometimes makes it seem like, it's like I say, yeah, if you go through the whole product and you apply the lessons, you're going to get results. In reality, some people need to go through the product multiple times, and they maybe need to do a little bit of extra coaching to get the kind of results. So I exaggerate a little bit, but there's no significant exaggeration or lying going on in my copy, unlike there is with them. That's the issue. I don't sell you my shit under false pretenses. In fact, I almost never try to sell people anything. Like if you watch my videos, I very rarely pitch you guys on shit. My philosophy is if you like my shit, then you'll buy it. If not, it's all good. But again, we're getting into a little bit into different marketing strategies. But again, the problem isn't that they kind of fudge things a little bit. That's pretty common in marketing and whatnot. It's significant amounts of exaggeration, lying, and selling things under false pretenses.
So I guess my point is that a lot of their audience, they don't have much of any experience in game, and they they have this idea in their head that like of what success is, and success isn't really real life. Success in game isn't really like what they perceive it to be in their minds. So like in their mind, like Fresh like banging 1,000 girls or whatever, like that's what like real success is, right? But you know that isn't real life. So
Well,
they
well, first of all, I think we have to agree that the 1,000 girls thing is pure nonsense. Like he didn't
that's
actually.
what I'm saying. That yeah, but I'm
Yeah.
saying his audience is they equate that to success. So like if Fresh, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure he's banged a lot of girls, but
He's probably banged 100 or 200. Definitely not 1,000.
sure, yeah. But like so to connect with his audience, like you want to say like a big number because they think like a big number that's what like success is. Um, so like yeah, he's exaggerating, but he's connecting to his audience's pre-existing beliefs about what success is.
Right, but then you're feeding into that's ethically fucked up because you're feeding into someone's delusions. So it would be like if your grandpa has Alzheimer's and he comes to you and he's like, "The aliens are out to get us." Oh, that's grandpa. Yeah, let's tell him the aliens are out to get us and feed into his delusion to keep him happy. No, hey, grandpa, I think we gotta get your meds checked, right? Hey, you have a client who comes to you. You're a fitness trainer. You have a client that comes to you and says, "Hey, look at this Instagram model. I want to look like that." It's clear someone takes steroids. You're going to be a bad fitness trainer if you're going to be like, "Oh, cool. Okay, sign up for my coaching. We'll get you there in 2, 3 months." You're going to be a good fitness coach if you say, "Hey, listen, this is steroids. You will never look like this naturally, but we can help you get a little bit better in shape, right? It's going to take time. It's not going to happen in 2 months." That's what makes a good fitness coach. A bad fitness coach will be like, "Oh, yeah, man. Yeah, just follow my program and you'll get there." Versus you're basically setting up the person for failure because they can never get there because that person's on steroids. It's the same thing. They can never get with Fresh and Fit's level of game to their results because they don't have status and clout or money.
Do you think that it might be such that this whole like idea gets them into the door of like practicing game, and then they like actually learn along the way that that's not a reasonable belief, and it's actually like a net positive because they would have never gotten into it if they didn't have this like ridiculous notion, and then but it ended up being a positive because it got them in, and they figured it out, and
Yeah,
so on and so forth.
that's an interesting point. I would say no, and the reason for that is because I think someone's going to get their foot in the door with unrealistic expectations. They're not going to get those expectations, and then they're going to come to the conclusion that game doesn't work, that pickup is a scam, and they become black pill. I've debated a lot of black pillars, and I see this logic with them all the time. They say, "Dude, I tried the pickup thing, Alex, and it didn't work for me." So thus, I think black pill is correct. I was like, okay, but like, what do you mean you tried the pickup thing? Like, which strategy did you use? And they name like some weird dating coach. I'm like, dude, I've never heard of this guy. Why don't you try my stuff? I'll give you my product for free. You can try it. I don't need your money. And they're like, no, dude, I've tried the dating thing. It doesn't work. So I think that, again, you set unrealistic expectations and you set up the person to fail. A lot of people are going to get discouraged and quit. There might be some people who are super motivated who will be like, you know what, fuck this. I'm going to find someone else. But I don't think that's the majority of people. I think the majority of people, they fail once, they fail twice, they usually give up. That's kind of what I've seen in this pickup industry. I see a lot of guys who are just discouraged and they're convinced that game doesn't work, that self-improvement doesn't work because they've been let down before. And now they're really weary of trusting again.
Okay, I want to make the argument that most people are just like are like most people are just going to fail because they don't have the right work ethic or attributes to position themselves for success. And where am I going with this?
Well, I think I see your point, but go ahead.
Yeah, so yeah, maybe I'm sure most of the people that like try maybe Fresh and Fit's product, maybe since it's like they're bullshitting a bit, that they'll try it and they won't get results and they'll get discouraged and they'll get black pill, whatever. Like most of those people probably just would have failed anyway, because they're not going to position themselves for success, and they're gonna try like 3 different things. It's not going to work, and then they're going to they're going to say game doesn't work, and they're going to get black pilled, and then yeah, so on and so forth.
That's an interesting point. So you're basically saying that most people would have failed anyway. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're wrong. I still think it's like two wrongs don't make a right. I still doesn't think that excuse setting unrealistic expectations. Um, I think again it would be like you don't really know much about fitness. I'm like this big fitness coach. You come to me and you say, "Hey, look at this. You look at Johnny Skywalker. He's like a famous whatever bodybuilder. Look at this guy. I want to get a body like that." And I say, "Okay, man, yeah, we can get you there. Johnny Skywalker's on massive amounts of steroids, right? We can get you there." And I give you a workout plan. And let's say you have a great work ethic. You work really hard for 6 months, and then you look nothing like Johnny because I gave you the most unrealistic expectations, and then you give up. Whose fault is it? Well, part of the fault is with you because you didn't really do your due diligence and you didn't really, you gave up. But part of the fault is with me because I allowed that to happen by giving you unrealistic expectations and feeding into your delusion that you can be massively jacked naturally, right? So both parties are at fault here. One doesn't excuse the other.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. I think you and I largely agree on like most things. We both agree that their game is average. That's like intermediate. Um, do you think we're actually disagreeing about anything at this point?
Probably not. I want to ask you, do you feel that there's a certain way in which someone expresses game that you respect more than other ways of doing? Like if you saw someone doing game in this manner, you're like, this guy's a boss and like he deserves the most respect. Or do you feel like what I'm saying, where if they get the results that they want, like it doesn't really matter?
I'm more on your side. If they get the results they want, doesn't really matter. Um, as long as that person's not going out and lying, and again, look, that some person he has a great social circle, he has a lot of money, and he uses that to get laid. As long as he's not being dishonest about it, that's good enough for me. Whatever, my hat's off to him. But I will recognize that there are some forms of game that are a lot harder than others. Like like doing cold approach during the daytime is a lot harder than using your money with girls off Instagram, to smash them that way. So some are inherently harder, which might make me think, okay, yeah, wow, this guy really deserves my respect. But I would not dismiss the other form of game as long as it's not dishonesty. Like at the end of the day, if you're getting the results that you want, then that's really all that matters. The how doesn't really matter as much. But it kind of goes back to the bodybuilding example, right? You see a guy that's jacked, right? He looks great. He's reached his fitness goals, and you find out he's on steroids. You're not going to dismiss him entirely, but you're going to be like, okay, yeah, he probably worked hard, probably had a good workout program, but he also cheated a little bit. But then you find out.
But is that cheating? Is that cheating though?
Okay, that cheating is the wrong word. He did a little bit easier versus you see a guy who's natural, who has that same exact level of fitness. You're like, holy fucking shit, that guy must have worked really fucking hard. End of the day, both guys got the same results, but one of them had to grind it out and work harder than the other. And if I was gonna reach out about my training protocol, I'd probably ask the natural guy because he probably has more skill. It's the same type of thing here. Like the guy, if a guy can get their results from cold approach alone, it probably means that he's either working harder, his game skills are better, or most likely both.
So let's take the cold approach example. Cold approach is like, in my opinion, it's like a really hard skill to learn, and it's like most of it, like when you approach a girl, like in the daytime, a lot of it is like what happens in the first 2 minutes, like the very specific way you express yourself, your vibe, the things you say, you make you laugh. I feel like the first like couple minutes are like the most important.
Yeah.
And so that's like a really hard skill to learn.
It is.
But like money is like more effective and it's easier. Like what am I saying?
Well, I see the point you're making, but
so why not just use the money? I mean, I guess it's more respectable because it's a harder skill, but why even learn it in the first place, I guess?
Well, that's a little bit broader of a question. So the reason you would learn cold approach skills, just basic game in general, is so that when you're ready to settle down with a girl, like you want a girlfriend or something like that, you get a girl who doesn't just choose to date you for your money. Look, for getting laid, getting pussy, money and status are great. For getting a girlfriend, I'd be very weary of dating a girl who I met using my status or money, if that's what drew her in initially. So that's the first thing. Now, in terms of why is one better than the other, I don't think one is better than the other, but it's also pretty hard to be a millionaire because at the end of the day, they talk about make six figures. Dude, girls do not give a shit if you make 50,000 or 100,000 or 150,000. That's fairly irrelevant amounts. You have to get like a lot of money, like good money, in order for it to make a difference. Like it has to be the point where you can't afford yachts and McLarens, right? That's like money. But just that's not going to happen for 99% of the guys. Most of the guys, they don't have their own business or their own podcast. They work for somebody. They work as as an IT guy, or they work as a programmer, or they work they do this. Those jobs will never pay you that much. So what they're advocating is not possible for the vast majority of the guys. Cold approach is probably a little bit more practical for the average guy. It just requires a shitload of work and a very tough mental attitude. So I would say that the cold approach route is more accessible. But yeah, you can definitely try to do both.
Yeah, I agree. I think guys, when they're first starting out in the game, should definitely do a cold approach because they just need to fucking get out of their comfort zone and get their feet dirty and just learn how to talk to girls.
Like I can tell you someone who's gotten laid from cold approach, someone who's gotten laid from Clout. The Clout one is so much easier, dude. Like the amount of work is like 10%. It's a lot easier, which makes me like it more. I like when things are easy for me. But again, I spent 3-4 years building and playing with fire, and like we're just tipping the point to where like I'm starting to get some chicks who know who the fuck I am. Vast majority of people are not going to be able to do that. It's just not for them. They're not going to be able to do it. So
yeah, in terms of accessibility for like people that watch your videos, yeah.
So you'll never hear me talking about like, oh, look at this hot chick I banged. If I banged her from Clout, because I know that's not accessible. That's why I only write about my Tinder LRs, my cold approach LRs. You'll never see me like, oh yeah, check out this hottie I banged. Oh, how did you meet her? Oh, it's my game. In reality, you find out that she DM'd me on Instagram because she likes my podcast, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think the point I was trying to argue about the cold approach versus money is that like it might even be harder to become a multimillionaire than it is to get good at cold approach. Mm-hmm. So like, yeah, you're getting girls with money, but that's still pretty respectable because you built to that point to get to those girls. So
sure, as long as at that point you're not saying I get the girls because of my cold approach skills when it's because of your money. As long as you're upfront, there's no issue there at all. And it is pretty respectable. Again, the problem you might run into later on is if you want to get into a relationship is that you wind up with a gold digger. That's the only issue. But for banging, for short-term stuff, yeah, it's totally respectable. As long as you're upfront about it.
Yeah, cool.
Look, going back to the bodybuilding analogy, Johnny Skywalker, right? I don't know if you're familiar who he is or not, but he's clearly worked really hard, to get the body that he has. He's been training for years. But if he comes out and starts saying, "Oh, I'm natural. I never took a steroid in my life," that's not respectable because he's clearly lying. Because even though he does have a good work ethic and he probably trains well, a big part of the reason that he looks the way he does is because of steroids. And no one who doesn't take steroids will ever look like him. So.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I agree with that.
Cool. Was there any other topics that you want to discuss, or was that like the only one?
No, I think that was about it. That was all I had in mind. I thought I wanted to bring up and break down.
Cool, man. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you coming on. I think it was a good discussion.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
It was interesting to discuss between like cloud and game. It's a topic that I haven't talked about as much yet, but maybe I'll make a video on this topic. So I think it's an interesting topic to explore. So yeah, man, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, man. Later.
Take care. All right. So that was our first debate. We're gonna get Junior on in a second. He's gonna be on for the second debate. So let me just quickly scroll through the comments. Yeah, we got a whole bunch. Let me bring Junior on, and then we'll go through some of the comments, and then we'll get into our portion. Yo, what up, buddy?
Hey, what's up, man? How are you?
How you doing?
Good, I'm good, I'm good. Just excited.
Cool. The audio on your side is a little there's like a little static ringing noise in the background. Maybe you could like, I don't know, fix that.
Oh no, I can't hear. I'll just hear you. Is it better or worse?
It's like this ringing in the background. Guys, let me know in the comments if you can hear this ringing that's coming from Junior's side. And if not, we're all good. But if you can, we might want to fix that before we start. Yeah, it's like this like ringing noise, which let's wait until the guys comment on that. It's like this ringing noise. What kind of
I kind of hear it now too in the thing.
you hear it?
Yeah, I hear it a little too, like it's a little faint. I don't have anything in my room or nothing like that, so
I think
I don't know what it is.
What's your setup right now with your audio?
Just using my iPad right here, and I just have my headphones in. It's like clicking in like that. That's the best I could do.
Let's try unplugging your AirPods and see if that fixes the problem.
Okay.
Do you hear me now?
Yeah, dude, that's a million times better.
I don't hear you at all. Okay, it's
Yeah.
an echo.
You can't hear me? I can hear you just fine. Oh, I think the reason you can't hear me is because on the bottom you're gonna see mute, stop cam, cam mic, share. Hit under cam mic, and then go into audio.
I'm sorry, I didn't like it.
Can you hear me? Give me a thumbs up.
Big echo, like it's like echo, and I can barely hear your words.
That's weird because everyone in the comments is saying
okay. I think it's good now. All right, good.
It's good now?
It's coming in and out. Okay.
Well, we want to fix this before we start because it's gonna, derail the whole thing. Guys, let me know in the comments, Junior. Maybe you can say something and let the guys know in the comments so they can hear you fine.
Can they hear me?
Yeah, guys, let us know if you can hear them. Yeah, it says AirPods. Try headphones. The problem is that with the headphones we're getting, figure it out. Do you have any other? Do you have like not AirPods, but like just whatever regular headphones?
So I didn't hear any of that. Okay, let me just put the headphones back in for a little bit. Let me see if I can.
Bear with us, guys. Oh, lost them for a second. Let's give them a second. Wired headphones, maybe. Yep.
Is it still ringing? So good?
Yeah, the ringing is back. It's being caused by your earpods. Maybe you can turn down the volume on your earpods and see if that makes a difference.
All right. What about that?
The ringing is still. The ringing is still.
I gotta raise it up a little bit.
The ringing is still super loud. Hello? Yeah, we're gonna have to do something about the ringing. Okay, so when you said that when you unplugged your earpods, you can hear me.
I just hear like a big echo, like every word just like echo, so I can't even even understand. It's like I have to be lips to understand what you're saying.
Let's see if we can fix it. If not, we'll just go with the AirPods. But I think part of the issue was, so you see the buttons at the bottom. There's like mute, stop cam, cam mic.
Yeah.
Okay, so what you're going to want to do is you want to hit on cam mic. You go under audio, and then it tells you mic and speaker. So for your speaker, so try unplugging the headphones, and then for mic, set it as your iPad, and then for speaker, make sure it's set to as your iPad. I think that could fix the problem, but make sure that those two things are adjusted after you unplug the headphones. Okay.
Is that better? Yes.
Now you're kind of frozen.
Is that no? Yeah.
It's still there. All right. People are saying let's just start. It's going to be annoying, but we could just do it. So you can hear me fine. You can hear me fine when you got the AirPods in.
I want to see if I can hear you. Can I hear you? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine. The only thing is that the video is lagging a little bit, but other than that, it's
All right.
good. Can you hear me?
All right. It sounds fine on my end. I can hear you now. So
All right, great.
okay, I
Let's
guess
do
that's fine.
let's do it like that. Okay. So let's you know what? Let's jump right into it because we kept the guys waiting for a little bit. So let's just jump right in.
All right. So yeah, my name is Junior. Some people call me Trey. My real name is Trayvon. Call me Junior. Basically, I just want to know. Just started off like FreshandFit. What's your problem with them?
I don't have a problem with FreshandFit per se. There's certain things that I've criticized them on, which I think are fair criticisms. The biggest one is hypocrisy and lying. So I'll give specific examples. So basically, I see a lot of FreshandFit saying one thing and doing the other. You can talk about never leave with your wallet, never leave with your wallet, but it seems like that's what they do quite often. Another one that I see that's pretty problematic is they say, "Oh, don't simp for women. You know, don't ever subscribe to girls' OnlyFans. You know, don't pay for that shit." Yeah, what do? They start their own OnlyFans on Patreon, where they have porn content, and then they go on. Then they go on what's his name, Roommate's podcast, and they literally say verbatim, "Well, these guys are going to simp for somebody. They might as well simp for us." So my problem is, again, I don't have any personal problem with these guys at all.
Okay.
But I do find some of the stuff they do troubling in terms of hypocrisy. And I like to bring attention to it, and occasionally get into one-liner in there.
So the first thing you said was that. Repeat the first thing you said about the hypocrisy.
Well, I was giving examples, so I find the hypocrisy problematic quite often. Like they say,
leave with the wallet. Yes, now I remember.
Don't leave with your wallet. Don't leave with your wallet. Like that's them saying one thing, and then they do the opposite. And it's not just me. Academics, who's like their friend, call them out on it live on air. So it's not like it's just me and like some other pickup YouTubers. Like other people are like seeing it. It's like super obvious.
All right. So my question would be: are they doing that all the time?
No one is Hippocratic 100% of the time. So they're not hypocrites 100% of the time. No, of course not. There's some things they do. They're not hypocritical, but it's significant.
Well, like I see you do your Tinder game. So like, if you send a message and like you said your Tinder studies or like your strategy says do this thing. If you one time do something else, it's like, oh shoot, Alex loses all credibility. He's not like good at his game. He has to be called out on that. Like, is that a problem? Like
that's called the false equivalency. It would be problematic if you found out that I've never even downloaded Tinder or I haven't had Tinder in years, and I'm purely getting girls from Social Circle or from Clout. You would call me a hypocrite at that point. Okay. Maybe I had Tinder. Maybe I get Tinder girls from Tinder 5% of the time, but 95% of my girls are coming from either Social Circle or Clout. You'd be like, dude, that's very problematic, even though I have Tinder. So that's kind of a false equivalency. It's not like one time they kind of did it. It's like it's a pattern that you see happening over and over again.
So how do you know that they're not getting girls purely from like leading from the wallet all the time? Like, okay, we have like one or two examples, but like is it like constant? Like that's what I look for. Like, okay, this example, they're key, a constant thing. Like, yeah, that's what I would look for, right?
Yeah, so I'm not arguing that they're doing it 100% of the time, but it is fairly substantial. For example, if you watch like Fresh's stories or his personal fucking what's it called YouTube channel, quite often you'll see him like, oh baby, like I'll shower you with gifts, like come here, like using the fucking cheesy ass like fucking rich guy money game. I've met up with multiple girls that have either been on dates with them or know them or been on their podcast. Coincidence. We live in a small, like they live down the street from me, so it's not like I'm seeking these chicks out. We just run into each other, and I hear a lot of stories over and over again that like, this guy, he was like trying to he's trying to like use his money. He's like leading with his wallet. He kept talking about how he could like set up my career. He could help me with this and that. They could take me on these yacht parties, and I just thought he was flexing. And that's funny because these chicks wound up banging like my roommate, who's like a bald Indian guy, but he actually like knows game and doesn't like lead the money. So yeah, it's not all the time, but it's pretty significant.
Like if you had like girls like saying that, like if you had put them on interviews saying that, okay, this girl said that girl said that, this girl said that, and I'm like, okay, yeah, but like for his vlogs specifically, I don't consider that because like they're trying to be entertaining. Like the vlogs are not literally what he does in his life. Obviously, he plays it up. You know, everybody. I don't think everybody.
Well, I don't know why he would play up something that's negative. Like you would want to play up something that's positive. That's like me having a small dick and me trying to like play that up. Yo, it's so small. It's so small. You can barely see it. Like that's something that you want to play down, not play up. So I don't know why they would want to play that up.
I mean, like he said, vlogs, like he vlogs, he don't take his vlogs seriously. Like he said that specifically, like his vlogs, he's troll people. He doesn't take them seriously. It's not necessarily what he does with his own life. It's what he chooses to show you. You know.
Okay, let's just rule out the blocks. Let's just, for the sake of argument, say you're correct.
Okay.
And those are purely creativity or whatever, him fucking around. So let's rule those out. So then we have, for example, his current girlfriend, right? So academics confronted him about this live on air. He was like, Fresh, like, I'm your buddy. I watch your channel all the time. And I think you're being a hypocrite because you say, don't leave with money, blah, blah, blah. But you got this chick literally by inviting her onto your massive yacht. And then you find out this chick's on seeking arrangement.
Okay.
Like, that's like the example. I'll give you another example. I actually wanted to play this clip. So one of the big things they're known for is their Instagrams on demand course, where they talk about, Instagram game, how to, pimp out your Instagram, right? So take a look. Let me share the screen. We'll just go through this real quick.
All right.
Eliminate some things. And something that you guys probably have seen already. Some of you. Okay. Share the screen. Oh, wait. I got to pop my email open. Hang on one second, guys. Let me just get this open. Bear with me. Okay. Why is it not? Okay. I'm just going to dig this up the old-fashioned way. Hang on one second.
Yep.
Okay, there we go. Got it.
All right.
Let me just share this screen. Chrome tab. Okay, there we go. Okay, you can see that, right?
Okay. Yeah.
All right, so we're not going to go through the whole thing. We'll go through a few minutes.
Okay.
YouTube, brother, what you said? Nobody wants to. Nigga, you talking about me? Yo. Hold up. Real talk, you know what? Pull up my Instagram, nigga. Right now. All right. Right now, nigga. I want to hear from ladies. Smash your pass from me. You know what, Chris? Fuck you, Chris.
We're not doing this.
No, we're doing this.
Now, Myron is
Right
literally
now.
putting his head down because Myron's a pretty smart guy. He knows what's about to happen. Look at it. Look at Myron's
YouTube,
body
brother, what
language.
you said? Listen.
Dude, look at Myron's body language here. Oh my gosh. He's like so embarrassed. He's like, no, the grift is about to be revealed. Fresh, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're about to lose us tens of thousands of dollars in potential customers because you're about to ruin our credibility because we both secretly know that your Instagram sucks and you get no girls from it. No. Okay, let's continue.
Do you think that?
You all, man. Come on, bro. You know what? I should owe you right now, nigga. Yeah. Okay, smash your pass.
Pass.
Wait, hold on. Okay, hold on. One time. Wait, hold on. Give him a chance first, all right? Okay, good. No.
I feel like in your Instagram, like you look like you work in the gym, but you don't work out. You know, one of those people that work in the gym, but they don't work out.
I never work out.
Oh my gosh. One of those guys that looks like they go to the gym but doesn't work out. Okay. So just based on that clip alone, I'm very justified in calling them fake and fat now. All right. I basically have their permission based on their own show. Okay.
But okay, let's start here.
Can I put this
No. Be honest. I don't really care. Be honest.
I would smash.
Why?
I mean, I feel like I watch your content, so I feel like I already know you. So I don't know.
No, the reason that she said I would smash is because she wants to be invited back to the show. Do you think if she was the first to volunteer and she just straight up roasted his
you don't know
entire
that for
page, do you think that she would be invited back to the show? Of course not.
Go ahead, Junior. What were you going to say?
So as far as his last comment, Kevin's last comment, he doesn't know that for sure if she said like
Agreed. Yeah, he's making a big assumption. Agreed.
Yeah.
Maybe she really finds him attractive. Yeah.
Okay.
So
but my point is, for this, like I did see this video, but he has had other times where he has put it in his, because I watch a lot. I don't know how many times do you watch your videos? How many videos have you watched?
A pretty good amount, a pretty decent amount. But let me finish going through this. We can we're not gonna go through the whole thing. I just want to make a point.
And notice that long pause there before being like, I would smash. Sure you would, girl. That's not the voice and the vocal tonality of somebody who's interested. Oh yeah, I would smash.
I'm BBC, so hello.
There you go. Team BBC. All right, cool.
I'll pass.
What?
Based on Instagram? Based on your Instagram, or do I not know you at all?
No, just off Instagram alone.
I'll pass.
Why?
Because it's overwhelming.
Okay. That's fair.
Guys, don't forget to send it in. We'll go for a little bit longer.
Yeah, a little bit longer.
75. If you guys want to get your Instagram rated, and yeah.
Okay. What's your pass?
Pass.
Why?
I think I'm almost like I feel bigger than you. Like
Okay.
I feel bigger than you, bro. There's a list of like top 5 things you never want to hear from a woman that will totally emasculate you immediately. Oh, that's it. I'm bigger than you. Holy shit, dude. Imagine a girl telling that to you, to your face. All right. Imagine the level of disrespect. Imagine the level that she respects you if she's willing to say that to you. Okay.
So I want to quickly comment. I actually sort of disagree with Kevin on this. I think it has nothing to do with her respecting or disrespecting thing. I just think that was her honest assessment. So I don't think this suggests anything about her level of respect for him.
Man, this is brutal. This is brutal.
Sorry, go ahead, Junior.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing because another thing they say is like be brutally honest, like no matter what, like be brutally honest, and there's no really repercussions for saying like his Instagram is bad or nothing. Like it's like, oh shit, you said my Instagram is bad.
Well,
get out. Like so.
there's social pressure, but aside from that, yeah, there's no real repercussions. But let's keep going.
All right, cool.
Fresh and Fit is getting black pilled right before our eyes.
a big girl.
Okay.
That's fresh. He's big down there, right? No.
Shut up.
Looks like any fraud in a way.
She's on the mic.
I'm a Nigerian scammer.
Yo, I said everything. That was what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I was a bit meta there. She was like, oh, you look like a fraud. That's because he is. And she probably knows that too. Guess who's not getting invited back to the Fresh and Fit podcast?
Period. And like, I would think you scam.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pass or pass?
Pass.
Okay. I look like a scammer. Wait, hold on. Here's a thought.
No, that's not why.
Okay.
I fuck with the scammer, but no, not that one.
Okay. Miriam.
I didn't pass.
She's like, I hook up with a scammer, just not you. Take this black pill, Fresh.
Because I think like I feel like you should be a friend. Have fun with you. Really cool.
Oh my God. I feel like you should be a friend, bro. All right. Remember how I said before, if there was like a list of 5 things you never want to hear a woman tell you, that'll be like the most emasculating thing ever. If number 1 was I feel like I'm bigger than you. Number 2 is probably like, oh, you look like a friend. Whew. Brutal.
Cool. But pass.
Cool.
Because you know what? When you do something with somebody like that, it's just one night, so you don't want one night. You want somebody to be friends with you. So when you smash,
does he give off fun boy vibes, I guess?
No, he gives off beta boy vibes.
What the fuck? Okay. Pass or pass?
I'm gonna pass because you look like the off-brand Kevin Hart.
Oh, Lord! I get it all the time. The Walmart Kevin Hart, bro.
You know, something to keep in mind while watching this is these guys sell a course on how to have an impressive Instagram, which girls will like, and in which you can score dates with girls by sliding into their DMs or them DMing you. All right? Keep that in mind while we're watching this. I just want to remind you, okay? Does this look like the Instagram, first of all, if you're just watching it yourself, of the type of guy that girls would be, you know, fawning over? And to add on top of that, you know, they bring girls onto the show because they want to have like the female perspective. And also because obviously it gets a lot of views if they have girls on the show. So if the types of girls that you personally want to date, you watching this right now, or you who watch FreshandFit, are on their show and they're roasting the guy who is selling a course on how to, they're roasting the Instagram of the guy who's selling the course on how to have a good Instagram, shouldn't that tell you something? Again, look at the comment section. They're just getting roasted alive right now, and rightfully so.
You gotta make fun of her back, bro. Nah, that's cool, bro. Okay, fair enough.
Okay, now put up Myron's.
No, hell no.
Yes.
No.
Put up Myron's.
No, man. No. We're not doing this.
I gotta see.
No.
Put up Myron's. Put up Myron's. Chris, put up Myron's.
Chris, don't do it.
Put up Myron's, bro.
Don't listen to this nigga, bro.
Put the content. Put up Myron's.
We're
Yes.
not doing it.
Yes.
We're not doing it. We're not doing it. So let's.
Why? Are you scared?
No, it's not that I'm scared, bro.
I
It's
mean,
That was basically the gist of it. But I really love the ending there when he's like, Fresh is just like, come on, put on Myron's. And Myron's like, dude, this is such a bad look for us. Like, you just see Myron the whole time because Myron's an intelligent guy. Like, he went to Northeastern. You don't get into that school if you're dumb. They were actually a competition. I went to BU. They went to Northeastern. So he's like sitting there the whole time. He's like, dude, what the fuck are you doing, Fresh? And he's like, put on my Instagram. Dude, you just ruined 50% of our fucking, you know, credibility. Let's not ruin the other 50% because Myron has like one picture on his Instagram. So he's like, dude, no, Fresh, no fucking way. It was funny. Later on, he says, dude, we don't have time. We don't have time. It was funny. So the point I want to make this video is that I think, again, is that, you know, they're selling an Instagram course where they're saying, oh, you know, we can teach you guys how to, you know, crush it using Instagram, blah, blah, blah. But their Instagram, according to girls on their own show, sucks. It would be the same way as me saying, yo, guys, my product, you know, I talk about Tinder, and I have a bunch of girls review my Tinder profile, and they're like, dude, this is the worst profile. We would never swipe right on this. You immediately be like, what the fuck are you doing then, Alex? Hey, are you still there, Junior?
Yeah, my bad. I couldn't hear anything you said after the video stopped playing. Like, yeah, so I
Oh,
put
shit,
the headphones
okay.
in for a second. So ringing
Okay,
back
let me-
again, or
Yeah, let me quickly repeat. I don't want to like get too petty for the audience, but I was saying that first of all, I enjoyed the ending because Myron is like, we don't have time. Myron is a smart guy, so he's sitting there. He's like, dude, you just ruined 50% of our credibility. Don't ruin the other 50% by showing my Instagram. But the other part of it is like their whole thing is their product is like, hey, buy our course, whatever, how much it costs, several $100s, and we'll teach you how to be a boss at Instagram. Yeah, Fresh's own Instagram sucks according to the vast majority of girls on the show. It'll be the same equivalent as like, you know, my big thing is online dating. I'm like, hey guys, buy my Tinder course and you can crush it on Tinder. And then we show my profile live to 5 girls and they all like shit on it except one who's like, okay, maybe. And then the other 4 girls like, this is the worst Tinder profile. I would never swipe right on you. You would immediately be like, okay, what the fuck is going on here?
I would have said that if I haven't seen other episodes, and they have shown their Instagram, and yeah, gotten more better reception than those other ones. Like, you know, it was kind of just one example. Like, it does happen. Like, girls really reject your Instagram, kind of no matter what sometimes, and it does happen. It's just more about increasing your chances, you know. And his Instagram has changed a lot since then. Like, it looks completely different than it did back then.
He might have
So
learned
if
from
they're
this.
willing to grow, isn't he willing to grow? Like,
He might have learned from his mistakes, but at that point when this episode was out, they were already well underway selling their Instagram course. So I severely doubt they rewrote the course based on the things that they've learned in like, you know, the last few months after getting roasted by chicks. Yeah, that's the problematic part. Is again, it's like the level of like hypocrisy and cognitive dissonance that I see. It would be like me giving you guys nonstop workout advice. Yeah, go to the gym, get jacked, and then you find out I haven't been to the gym in years. You'd be like, what the fuck? Would you
Yeah,
not?
I do agree, sort of, but like if in that certain instant, like it's just because I watched a lot of their content, so I've seen other episodes where like both Fresh has gotten some praise for his episodes, and that's before that episode. Like before that episode, I seen him get some praise for his Instagram. Not always, not like I'm not saying like like a previous episode that was like all the board was like, oh yeah, it's fire. But I've seen some other episodes where they give him some praise for his Instagram, and I've seen like in other episodes, previous episodes, that Myron was willing to show his Instagram. Like they do start their Instagram their live show pretty late, like late in the
I
night.
think, let me just quickly fact check you on that, because I believe Myron has like one photo on his Instagram. Let me just double check this. He has 12 photos on his Instagram. So he doesn't really have much of an Instagram. I know he's improved it. He used to have a lot less. He used to have like 1 or 2 photos. But okay. That's
But he has 3 Instagrams, I believe. Like he had, like, because they keep on getting deleted. I don't know, maybe because his quote unquote misogynistic views or whatever the reason was. But he had gotten one and deleted one. His even FreshandFit podcast one has gotten deleted and come back. I've been a victim to that too. Like
So Junior, if it was just this one incident, I could chalk it off to like a one-time thing or whatever, bad sample size, maybe whatever. But it's a consistent pattern I see of hypocrisy and lying. Like, okay, I'll give you another example. I'll give you several examples. You know how on the show they always say, "Oh, if you got a man, bring your man, bring your man. We don't want any, beef. Bring your man. It's encouraged." Okay, Just Pearly thinks bought her man, who is a famous TikToker. He has like 20 million, 30 million followers on TikTok. So it's not just like some random bum. It's like a very successful, person to network with. And what do? They fucking give her shit for bringing the guy. Myron kind of gives her a little bit of a lecture on air, and then off air. Again, I wasn't there, but she has no reason to lie to me. Like basically yells at her for bringing her guy because apparently there was other people who paid to be there. Because they charge people to watch the show backstage, and it wasn't fair to them. So it's just like this like hypocrisy that I see coming over and over again. I'll point out a few more examples.
For that situation, I think that was like as far as that situation, what I heard with them explaining it was that they were just pissed off about, I think, some dude broke into her house or on live show, whatever.
Allende, yeah. But even going back to the Allende situation,
that Pearl went on, and yes, he did handle that the wrong way.
But even Junior, you're kind of breaking up. Can you can you hear me? You're kind of your screen froze there for a second. Junior, damn it. Junior. We lost Junior. FreshandFit was like, fuck, we gotta crash this stream. Now let's let's get Junior back. Yo. You froze there for a second, man.
Yeah, I just went and it came out. I think I was saying for that specific instance, I think it just had like some dude broke into their house, I think, or like the studio on live on air.
It was a few weeks before that.
Yeah, so I think like he was on edge, and I think I would be too. Like if you like someone broke into your house and someone you didn't know, I think it was just
Well, hang on. Let's be very clear here and not misinterpret the facts. So it wasn't someone that they didn't know. It was Allende. It was someone that they had worked with for a while who was no longer working with them. And also, he didn't break in. So they made this whole thing about how he broke down the lock. A few days later, Allende released a video of him literally just opening the door. So they're like, oh, we locked the door. And then there's clear proof of the door being wide open. So it's like, just like this pattern.
But that still is a break-in, though. Like, that's like breaking the entry. Whether the door, like you physically break the lock or you walk in there, it's like if you don't have permission to come in there, it's breaking and entering.
Well, he never actually came in the apartment. Nor was he ever, even though they said, "Oh, he's going to get fucked to the police." He was never charged with anything. Again, the point I'm making is they kept saying, "Oh, we locked the door. We locked the door. He broke down the lock." They said that multiple times on air, and then you see a video a few days later of him just opening the door. So I'm not saying what he did was right. I'm not, that was wrong what he did, and I think he even recognized that himself. But it was just the fact they lied, and just like this pattern of lying. And that I see over and over again.
That situation, like, I can't really comment too much on that one. It seemed like he broke in, like, regardless of like if it's legal or not, or he didn't get charged. It's still wrong for him to do that. As far as like them lying
I want to be very clear, because the point I want to make is that I agree that it's wrong for him to do that, even though I'm friends with Allende. Again, the point I'm making is they said multiple times on air, "Oh, we locked the door. We locked the door. Yeah, the door was locked. He broke down the lock. He broke down the lock." Why did they do that? Because that makes it seem like they're more of a hero. Like he's more in the wrong, they're more in the right, right?
There's no debate about who's in the wrong and right, or more in right. It's completely in the wrong and completely them in the right, regardless of how you put it. Like, yeah, he's completely.
But it looks better in their favor if this guy broke down the lock than if they say, "Oops, we forgot to lock the door," and he walked the door open. Because that just seems like they're kind of like, they didn't lock their door. Yes, he's still generally in the wrong, but it's a much better look for them if this guy kicked down the door, broke down the lock, versus if they just forgot to lock their door and he opened the door.
Oh, so if like you think like, if it was just like they didn't say that and then he just walked in there like and did that, they would be like, well, yeah, it wasn't as bad, because like in that situation, like it looks pretty like bad. Like I don't see that. Like, okay, maybe they exaggerated a little, like a bit and like whatnot, but like that's
okay. Junior, let me ask you a very clear question.
Yeah.
So you have two situations. Let's say me and you, right? Let's say me and you are friends, and then we stop being friends. We live near each other, and then I walk into your apartment. You just don't lock the door. I open your front door. I start yelling at you, right? Okay, I'm in the wrong. But let's say another situation where you lock the door, you have it locked, and I break down the lock and I start yelling at you. That makes me look worse than if you just forgot to lock your door and I open your door, right? They're both wrong, but one looks better than the other. And they took advantage of the situation. They lie, and then they get caught. So again, I want to be very clear. I'm not saying they're in the wrong in that situation. Allende was largely in the wrong, pretty much entirely in the wrong. But again, it's just another example of them lying about stupid shit.
Like, I don't know the situation. Like, who is in charge of locking the door? They have a team there. Like, regardless of that, I just want to focus more on the teachings. Like, is their teachings wrong? That's what I really want to focus on. Sure. Are they teaching wrong? Are they teaching people the wrong path? Because that's what seems like both the big question with you and I guess Kevin. Kevin, that's his name. Kevin. Yeah, Kevin Wilder. It's big as their teachings are wrong. Like,
okay, we can focus on that. So I've always said that I agree with about 50% of the stuff they say and disagree with another 50%. So I think some of the things they say is right and some of the things they say is wrong. And I can point out specific examples talking about the wrong thing. I think that quite often they teach wrong game strategy. So a specific example, Myron talking about that if you bring a girl back to your place after a date and she doesn't want to sleep with you, it's because she's playing power games, and what you should do is call another girl in front of her, and that will build competition anxiety, and that could get you laid, or that's what you should do in a situation like that. That is horrible dating advice, because the vast majority of the time when you pull a girl and she's not sleeping with you, it's not because she's playing a power game. It's most often not because she lacks comfort, lacks attraction. She has some unanswered concern, objection. She's worried about being a slut. She's just maybe wants to build more sexual tension. So there's also a lot of things they say in terms of game theory that's wrong.
Okay, that one, like, I want to break down that situation because I heard about that. Like, one, I think it's rude. Like, I know, like, I think Monica got into this. So you had this discussion with Monica, right? About this whole situation of like, is it doing this situation where you come in there and you say, oh, if you're not sleeping with me, you got to get out, whatnot, or call a girl in front of you. Like, Be clear. I don't think you should do that. I don't think that's a good game. Like, Like, and I thought she could have had like in that debate. I think she could have had good points. She didn't say. Personally, me, if I was her, I would have said like, okay, flip the script. If I was a woman and I said you brought me on this bad date, and I picked the phone and called, and said, all right, blah 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 blah. He's gonna take me on a better date, like, and then called in front of the guy. Like that would have been a better argument for her to say, like, okay, I'm gonna call a better guy in front of you. Yeah, I think she should have said that.
We could have definitely argued it better. And I actually mentioned that when I had her on for the podcast. I just did it in a nice way. I didn't want to like be like, you could have done better, Monica. I tried to do it in like a more like nicer way. But yeah, she could have definitely argued that a lot better. For sure.
But like as far as that technique, that might be a way that works for him. But like it's different interpretations. That could be his way. And if people don't agree with doing that way, they have you because you have a big following too. They can go to you like okay, if I don't want to just fake her out because she's not having sex with me, I can go to you, and then you have a different strategy. It's just a different strategy. It does waste if your thing is like I don't want to waste time. I just want like if she doesn't sleep with me, I want to get her out of there. Try to get a different girl. Okay, that strategy can work. Maybe it's not the best. It is an option, but if not, they have an option for you, right? Too, like you can use your game.
Well, yeah, that's a little bit of a false equivalency because you're making it seem like both strategies are like somewhat even. One works for some people, one works for other people. In reality.
Well, I didn't because I said the one with Myron's less effective. I said, okay, if your thing is just about a thing about wasting time, like okay, she doesn't want to sleep with me and you're impatient, they can find you. Like people, I know people are impatient and like they look for that and like okay, I want her to sleep with me right now. If not, kick her out and get another girl. That can be like okay, if your goal is just to sleep with girls and just like get as much as possible, sure, I guess. Kick her out and try someone else.
Well, hang on, because I want to explore that. So, if your goal is to sleep with as many girls as possible, that's still non-optimal strategy, and I'll explain why. You spend an hour and a half, 2 hours on a date with her. You pulled her back to your place, and she's a little hesitant. You kick her out. Let's say, in a perfect world, you can meet up with another girl in 20 minutes, which we don't live in a perfect world. In reality, you're not going to get anyone over that night, but you can meet up with another girl, and then you put in another 2 hours. Or you can spend 20, 30 minutes dealing with LMR and sleep with that girl. They already put all this work in. So from an economics perspective, it's a bad strategy. It's a bad strategy no matter how you cut it. The only situation where it's a good strategy is if you're like a big celebrity and you have dozens of girls who are willing to come straight to your house. And then you can kick, aside from the fact you're kind of being a dick, but let's take ethics out of it, is that you can get another girl straight over to your place to fill in. You have like 5 other chicks or DTF. That doesn't apply to 99.9% of the guys who are watching the channel. Most of the guys, they have a normal amount of girls coming in. So they have to set up another date. They have to go on another date. So that's poor game advice for pretty much anyone who's not a mainstream celebrity.
I just think that's a different advice, but like as far as wasting time, like getting a different girl in there and doing all this other stuff like that, it gets into that territory, like especially now that Me Too territory where you're trying to find like convince her. Because I know you had Goose say in your podcast and like if a girl says no, like you got to make sure it's over. Then like it's over, and you gotta get a new girl because like if you're trying to convince her or like try to do more to get her, like she already said no one time, try to convince her to get her, it's gets in that territory where it's kind of gray area. So like
well let's be very clear. I'm never advocating if you're like you're trying to pressure or convince her. I'll just run you through what happens if I bring a girl back to my place and she's like, oh, I don't know. I'm not going to be like, well, why not? Let's do it. I'm going to chill out for 10, 15 minutes, flirt with her a little bit, build some more comfort, and then try again. I've never once had an incident. Now, I think you're more likely to get into a dicey territory if you do these harsh kickouts. So, for example, the girl says no, and then you call another girl in front of her. She's not going to be leaving with a smile on her face. She's going to be leaving pissed the fuck off. And I think that's more likely to get you a false charge than you just being respectful but persistent. But what I've seen where people who got into trouble, there was these guys in San Diego who got into trouble, with like rape charges. And, the big thing that got them fucked is they were doing these harsh kickouts. It's my understanding that they actually didn't rape anybody. I wasn't there. I'm not going to make a definitive statements, but they were doing these harsh kickouts. So they would bang the chick and they'd be like, get the fuck out. Or if the chick didn't bang them, they'd be like, all right, get out. They were doing these harsh kickouts, which is fucked up, one, but we're taking ethics out of it. It's what got them fucked over in the head. So I think if your main goal is to avoid getting Me Too'd, I still don't think, based on that premise, it's superior strategy. I think that this kind of harsh kick out, if anything, increases your likelihood of having some kind of, bad, type of police thing inviting the chick because she's leaving pissed off. You can really avoid a lot of this stuff by making sure the girl doesn't leave pissed off.
I think it's more about tonality. I mean, if you say "get the fuck out" or like, okay, I understand that maybe you're not vibing tonight, or respectfully, can you leave? That's a different story. But if he's telling people to go get the fuck out, you're not doing this. Get the fuck out. And even if the girl was like, or no, I really want to do this, I would stay away from doing it anyway. If she changed her mind, it's like, nah, I think I do want to do this with you. I would steer clear of that, and maybe you should be more clear about that. If she comes back and try to say, all right, yeah, I do want to sleep with you, you should like stay away from that right away. I don't know if you said that, like to say, like even if she came back and tried to like sleep with you, and that's it.
His whole we can I don't want to go down a rabbit hole of arguing what's you're less likely to get you Me Too, because I don't really think that's the nature of our disagreement. But I think that he never said that, guys, I do this because I want to be extra cautious. To him, the reason he's doing it, one, is because he thinks it's good game, and two, because he has a massive ego, and that's the only way he can feel better about himself. So it's largely an ego thing. But again, he's calling the girl in front of the other chick. So the goal is to create competition anxiety. So this chick hears you calling another chick in front of her. Now, unless the girl has really low self-esteem, has all kinds of daddy issues, and likes to be treated like shit, there are some girls like that. 99% of girls are going to get super pissed off by that. They're going to think you're extremely disrespectful, you're extremely rude, and they're probably going to storm out. Even if you're not even that mean, even if you're like, all right, well, hang on a second. You call another girl in front of her and be like, sorry, this girl's coming over, so can you please leave? Even if you don't curse, you're calm, that girl's still going to get really pissed off because of the nature of your action. So that's kind of the issue there. Again, it's just a poor game strategy. And
I did rewatch that video, and he did say like, because in preparation, he did say go into another room, like, so he did like not literally like I'm right in front of you right now. I was like, oh, you're not gonna sleep with me, all right? So I'm going to sleep right now like this, like go in another room and do something like that. Even that I think is bad. You probably should just kick her out first. But like it's different.
So what he did was he backtracked. So I watched that whole debate several times. So initially he was talking about you're creating competition anxiety. The only way you're competing competition anxiety is if the girl hears you. If she doesn't hear you, there's no competition anxiety. Then when Monica and started going after him for that, and she was going after him for different reasons than me. She wasn't saying it's bad game. She was saying it's wrong. I'm not going to make that judgment call. I'm not going to say it's right or wrong. I just think it's poor game. And then he kind of backtracked a little bit. So if you watch the beginning and the end, he kind of changes the story. It goes from, you want to create competition anxiety to, well, no, I'm going in another room and, she's not going to be able to hear me. So his story changes as the podcast goes on because he realizes, I think, that, this kind of paints him in a bad light from an ethics perspective. But initially, it's very clear. He's talking about creating competition anxiety, which only happens if the girl hears you talking to the other girl. Junior. Oh, God damn it. Junior, are you there? Junior. What
My
point
bad.
You're good.
Yeah,
you're
I
good.
heard you said competition. Backtracking. That's what I heard. Backtracking, and then you.
Okay, I'll just sum it up really quickly. I was saying that his story changes throughout that podcast. Initially, he's very clear. He says that, hey, if that girl hears you talking to another girl creating competition anxiety, that's what you want to do is create competition anxiety. Then, as the podcast goes on, he changes his story because I think he realizes it makes him look in a bad light. But his initial statement, and this all started before the podcast, it started with a TikTok or Instagram video that he made. I believe Instagram video, where he said, hey, you call another girl, you create competition anxiety, blah, blah, blah. So that's how it all starts.
Yeah. I watched that TikTok particularly. I think he does say doing that. I think it does seem like the intention is that maybe she might hear, maybe she might I think it maybe is that she hears him or whatnot. But at the end of the day, it is kind of manipulation. Girls do that too.
Yeah,
Guys do that too.
we got to call a spade a spade. Like, we got to be able to say, look, his initial whole thing was about creating competition anxiety, and then he kind of changed his story. And we can disagree about whether it's good or bad game, but we have to agree on the facts. And the fact is that, again, you can watch this. I've watched that podcast several times. Initially, it's about creating competition anxiety. Then he realizes that it kind of puts him in a bad light, and then he kind of changes the story a little bit. But we have to agree on the same set of facts. I think we lost Junior again. Junior. Tech issues. Junior. I want to quickly comment on this. Yeah, I can't comment on that. I heard from inside sources that they didn't, but I don't know them personally, so I probably shouldn't have even made that statement because I don't know them personally. I'm just going off what I heard. But I do know that the whole thing came to a head when they did a harsh kick out with a chick, and then she really didn't like that. So harsh kick outs really increase your likelihood of getting into this issue. But obviously, you should never do anything fucked up like that in the first place. we keep losing you, man. What's going on? Is it your Wi-Fi or?
I don't know. Like, it just coming out. Like, we're good for
Yeah, because we're having to. I think you just froze again.
a second. I don't know what happens.
Let's try to figure it out because it's going to be hard when we if we have to constantly restart. So maybe do you have a computer or something that you could use instead?
Try different medium.
Yo, Junior. Yeah, we lost him again. Let me text him. This debate is just getting good too. I want to message him and see. Oh, there you are. You're kind of on froze again. Oh, no, he's gone. Okay, here he's back. Junior, do you have like a
find
computer?
my phone, see if that's better.
Let's try that. Yeah. Okay, where did you lose me?
You're just explaining what is bad game.
No, I was just saying we got to we can disagree on whether it's good game, bad game, how bad it is, but we have to agree on the same set of facts. And the facts here is that initially he said that it's about creating competition anxiety. Then the story changed a little bit. So that was the initial point he was trying to make, is that, hey, if this chick hears you talking to another girl, it's going to create competition anxiety, and that could potentially work in your favor, right? So that was the initial argument that he was making.
Yeah, and it could work in your favor, it could not. But like, as far as it's good, like, we're talking if this technique works. So is it effective? That's the big thing. Is it effective or not? That's like, because like we're talking about technique, because people are going to try these techniques. So is it effective?
All right, Junior, based on your opinion and your game, how effective do you think the strategy is going to be?
For me, I haven't done that because I just me and him have different backgrounds. We're raised different, so I wouldn't do that out of respect for the girl. I might tell her to leave, but I wouldn't do that calling thing at all. Probably her anywhere near in the room. But as far as it could work if you're that type of guy.
Do you think it's an effective move for the average guy?
This is effective for the guy. It depends on the girl. That's what I'd say. It depends on the girl.
It might work on 1 or 2% of girls who have severe issues and who actually get off on being abused. So there's some chicks who actually get off on being abused, and for those types of girls, it could potentially work. Yes, for 95 to 98% of girls, like normal chicks, it's not going to work.
I think it would work because what they preach is more they want to increase your value. So if your value is high enough, potentially that would be more optimal strategy. So if you don't start if you do a game, if you get to the level that they say that you need to be at first, and then you try to do a game like that, then I guess that works. That's how they do it.
I severely doubt it works for Myron. Maybe it's worked for him like literally once in the whole grand scheme of things. And I severely doubt it's going to work for the vast majority of guys. I don't care how high your value is. Yeah, this is just like, yeah, it's just poor game. It's just poor game.
Mhm.
But okay, well, I'm going to go and bring up a slightly different point. So Myron said that the reason that they, what's it called, that a woman, might not give you sex, give you bedroom fun, is because she's playing power games. She's trying to use sex against you. In your opinion, the vast majority of the time, when a girl doesn't, bang you on the first date, is it because she's playing a power game?
No.
Exactly.
Like my thing is like in my experience, it's mostly because of outside perception. Like how would she be viewed afterwards if she had sex with me the first night? Like what would her friends say? What would she think about it afterwards? What would her parents say? Like stuff like that. That's what most.
Yeah, anti-slut defense. So yeah, that's a huge reason. So yeah, it's not because she's playing a power game. It's because of anti-slut defense. It's because of lack of comfort. It could be a lack of attraction. It could be because she wants to do a little back and forth. Like some chicks, they want to playfully say no at first, and they want you to they want it to be like a tango or dance. So there's a lot of reasons why a girl might say no initially, and to make it seem like she's saying no because she's playing a power game. It shows one, you're lying, or two, you don't really understand game.
Do you think that's for all girls? What about the level of hotness? Like, because girls egos could be higher when they're like, the higher they get with the total point, like if they're a 10 or they're like, like a 7 or something like that, they could be potentially like, okay, yeah, I'm using it as power game because I know that I'm viable. I know you want to sleep with me. I know all the guys want to sleep with me. Like even Goose State did say that, like on the podcast, like they asked her what she brings to the table, and she says, "Well, I don't even have to bring a table. I have a whole line of guys waiting up to me, waiting for me." So
yeah. Yeah. So okay, interesting question. Let me just quickly address this guy. Okay, yeah, dude, you want to? All right, yeah, dude, it's Junior's turn, so me and him are going to finish our conversation. And then afterwards, if you want, you can come on. So I don't know how long it's going to go for, but I'm not going to end our podcast so I can get you on, man. So yeah, just be patient. We'll have you on afterwards. Okay, so I don't think it has to do as much with the hotness of the girl as I think it has to do with the character of the girls. So I think one problem that FreshandFit runs into is they're attracting and they're interacting with a very certain subsect of girls. That's the minority. It's like the Miami gold diggers. And believe me, I know those chicks. I've seen them, but I generally don't interact with them nearly as much as they do. And I think the problem they're running into is one, they're meeting chicks a lot on Seeking Arrangement, which attracts those types of chicks. Two, the kind of chicks that come on their podcast are the chicks who want the clout, right? Because if you're not a chick who wants clout, you're probably not going to go on their podcast. I've asked like Courtney Ryan, for example, super open-minded, super feminine girl. I was like, would you go on the FreshandFit podcast? She's like, at this point, honestly, no, because I don't feel like it would be like a real discussion. I feel like it would be them just trying to dunk on me and score points. So, again, I think that the problem they're running into, let me just kind of bring this full circle, is that they're attracting the types of girls who are more the gold diggerish, cloud digging girls, and that's reinforcing their overall perspective on women. That's only a small subset of women in general. But going back to the what was the initial thing that we were talking about? It was
we're talking about level of hotness about
right.
If you sleep with a girl, like would you sleep with, or would you power game? Yeah, power game.
Right. So I think I don't think it's the hotness of the girl. I think it's the character of the girl. So some of the gold digging type of chicks, yeah, they're more likely to do that than your average normal girl.
So as far as so how would they say they're trying to prove that their theories are correct? How would they do, how would they get the normal girls or to prove the theories? How would you get them advice okay, maybe our sample size is bad. How could they improve their sample size that we satisfy you guys? Okay, how could I get a good sample size that it would satisfy their theories to you?
Well, I mean, they're fairly intellectually disgenuine in a lot of ways. They could start off by, for example, in many ways. They could start off, for example, they're going to do a debate someone than a drunk 18-year-old girl. Have someone on your pod. Doesn't have to be me. I don't give a shit. Have anyone else on who is somewhat intelligent, who disagrees with you, and have a real discussion. because the only people they debate are drunk 18-year-old chicks. That's one of the ways. Show some cold approach infield. Show some infield of you talking to girls where it works in real time. Like show that shit. Show interaction start to finish. Like for example, one of the things that I do on my website is I show you my Tinder interactions from the opener to the close, so you see everything. There's no smoke and mirrors. You see exactly what I did. So there's a lot of ways they can go about testing their ideas. Go ahead.
So about that, so a couple things. One thing, I did watch Kevin Ray Wilder's video where he said about Donovan, I guess, called him out about showing receipts, and then he said, "quote unquote," showing receipts is tacky, so you shouldn't do that like that. That's one thing. Another thing,
just let me just clarify. That's his personal opinion. I disagree with that. I show receipts all the time, so me and him disagree about that.
Okay, and the other thing, I'm not from Miami, so you guys would know better. But I think in a different video he's played that like Miami's like a consent state where you have to you have to make sure that people who are video coded are knowing that they're video coding. So like you can't just have people on video and not knowing, because you can't sue for that.
Right. So I've shot plenty of infield in Miami. Austin Summers has, a lot of guys has. So there's an element of truth in what you said, but the courts have never, from what I've seen, there has never been a case where someone shot infield of someone in public and that person got fucked over in any way legally. So it's pretty well established precedent in Florida that we don't really give a shit as long as you're not filming inside your house or something like that, where there's a big expectation of privacy. So if I'm filming you on the street, while that may be technically against the law, no one's ever going to prosecute that. I'm not really going to get in any trouble, because there's channels way more popular than mine or theirs that film infield in Miami, and no one. It's just not something that they prosecute. The only time you run into a legal danger zone is you're filming secret infield inside your apartment, where there's an expectation of privacy.
Okay. And the only thing other is that I've seen on their Patreon, I'm pretty sure they do have that. Yes, you have a paywall, but I think it is on there. Patreon, they have some infield videos. I looked at one or two, whatnot, but it didn't really interest me. But yeah, I do believe on their Patreon that they do have something like that. I would have to go there again.
Do they have actual infield of them approaching chicks from cold approach?
Yeah, I will I guess after this, I'll pay for it again, and then I'll show you if they have it. Show if they have some info video on that, and you can see that. So that they can make your opinion from there. I could be wrong. It's been a while since I subscribed from them 2 months, 2 or 3 months ago. Looked at it real quick and looked at all the videos, and I believe they had some infill thing. I can check again, show you, but I think it's on there. It is during a paywall, which does suck. Maybe they should do a preview on YouTube or so. We do have that, but it's on Patreon. You subscribe to Patreon, you can see the infill. Maybe we should do that, but I think it's on there.
Yeah, let me know about that. I have, if anyone here has experience behind the paywall and you've seen this infield, let us know in the comments. But I have no problem with them putting that behind a paywall. That's their choice as a business and a content creator. No problem with that. The point where I'm making is that about the general pattern of teaching ineffective strategies, and that was one of them. So you asked me what I would like to do for them to prove that it works. Well, I mean, first of all, I know it doesn't work because I understand game, but okay, let's say I'm going to with a completely open mind, some kind of real type of data, maybe where they invite okay, you know what I did recently? We had a podcast with chicks about openers, and I didn't tell them anything about playing with fire or anything that I'm known for. Hey Trouble is synonymous with playing with fire. I didn't tell them any of that. I had them rate a bunch of openers, and one of them turned out to be Hey Trouble. And that's how I got genuine reactions about which openers are good, which ones are bad. Hey Trouble was average. It wasn't the best opener. It wasn't the worst. But so that's how you get data like that, is you ask the questions the right way. So if they ask that question in the right way, they have on 5 girls, they don't coach them beforehand, and they say, hey, let me ask you a question. So you go home with a guy, and maybe you're not sure about having sex with him, and a guy does this, a guy does that, and a guy does the third thing. And one of those things turns out to be Myron's strategies. Which one of those do you think will be most effective? Which one do you think would be least effective? If you word it in the right way, you can get like realistic feedback from chicks. Again, if you word things the right way. I mean, there's really no way he can show that without actually getting himself into legal trouble of him actually doing that, because that is filming inside the apartment, which is an expectation of privacy. But there are other ways you can go about, kind of testing some of their theories. I can tell you, we had one chick who was she went on a date with Myron, and we had her on the podcast. We didn't know about this, like it's pure coincidence, but it came up. She saw that we were following them or whatever, and I asked her like, what happened? Like, I didn't say I like Myron, I don't like Myron. I'm like, oh, cool. What happened? I just went to it with a purely open mind. So what happened was we went on a date. It was from seeking arrangement. They went out to dinner, and the chick was she like during dinner she asked me like, so what are you looking for on here? And apparently Myron gave her like a super vague answer, and she like gave him a little bit of a shit test. She said something like, oh, that's pretty vague, like a playful shit test, right? And then Myron got super pissed off. He lectured her for 5 minutes about how he's a high value guy, and then he just stormed off. Okay, weird enough. But then she said that she closed out the dinner tab. She walks out, and then Myron comes up and says, hey, can we talk? And she's like, okay. And then she's like, he again tells her how he's a high value guy, and he's like, so you want to go home with me? And she's like, what are you talking about? We just had you just flipped out on me. Like, why would I go home with you? And then he's like, you're not worth it anyway. And then he walks away. Like, that's not good game. That's a pretty shitty game. So it's like a lot of stories like that. Go ahead.
Okay, so that specifically, have you heard his side of the story about that thing? Because there's always two sides. There's two sides of the story,
Sure.
And then it's the truth. Like what really happened, which side you gotta hear really his side about what happened to really decipher what really happened. Because you're victim of that too. Like a girl, like was it Axe Nelly or whatever? Was that her name?
Yeah.
She told her side of the story and got your Instagram deleted, and you never heard your side of the story and said who was wrong or right. So
Right. So if that was just an isolated incident, I would agree with you. But it seems to be a pattern that matches with behavior. Like you see Myron on this show flipping out on chicks all the time. When they give him like a little bit of a shit test, they challenge him a little bit. You see him flipping out. So thus it kind of falls in line with a series of behavior that I'm seeing over and over again. I think like for example, if I was coaching Myron, I would be like, dude, like you have pretty bad ego problems. Like you have to like get over your ego. Work on like bringing it down, because that's actually hurting you. It's hurting you in a lot of ways. It's what's causing you to be angry. Like you say, men are logical, women are emotional. But you're actually quite emotional yourself, because I think you have a lot of unresolved anger. And credit to Myron, he said he's working on his anger, but he still has a lot of work to do on that front. So yes, if it was just an isolated incident, I would agree with you. But it's like a pattern and a pattern and a pattern over and over again.
So that right there, I know for the after show they do more stuff to hype up the show. He did say I know for example he was talking about how issues when they're talking and then they have a disagreement, he keeps on pushing the issue, but he did clarify and says that he does that for views like this to get he just pushes it more because it's more entertaining. But in real life he would say, don't even press a girl for that. If she's trying to argue, don't even argue with her. Don't do that. But some of the things I think it's known that some of the stuff he does in the after show is just for views. It's clickbaity and stuff like that.
That might be true, might be not be. I haven't really seen any clip of him admitting that. I do know Myron's definitely a hothead in real life. So for example, so he flipped out on me once, and that had nothing to do with views because there was no cameras over something like super minor. So I do know he's kind of a hothead in real life. We have a mutual friend. I won't mention his name for anonymity reasons. I actually have one of the guys I'm friends with is friends with them. We have a mutual friend, and he kind of confirms all this completely. He's like, yeah, he's a hothead. So you're seeing this, you're hearing the same story over and over again, and then you're seeing it in situations where views are not involved, which really makes me think that it is actually who he is. Again, but that's not really the thing I'm criticizing him for. Myron's a hothead. Pretty much everyone knows it. I think he admits it himself. that's not my real criticism. My real criticism is hypocrisy. So would you agree with me that there's some hypocrisy that goes on with Fresh and Fit? Would you agree or disagree with that statement?
Some things are not like they're as far as their lifestyle, but like as far as like them not living a lifestyle, that I would agree with. But then again, I'm just more concerned about their technique actually working. Like they can be the biggest hypocrites in the world as long as their techniques work. That's what really are effective. That's what really matters the most. Because like,
But why would they? But why would they? If their techniques really worked, why would they be hypocrites? Why wouldn't they just use the techniques? Look, if I if I have a way of making millions and millions of dollars, right, that works, why would I have a 9-to-5 job? Like I can make millions of dollars. So if their techniques really work, why would they be hypocrites in the first place? There's no need because they can just use their techniques to get the results.
Is sometimes like I know like free specifically like the right way like for argument's sake the right way to do a game, right? Like and
Sure.
for Tinder and all that stuff like that. Yeah. So have you like since you've known game, have you ever like not like did game poorly or just like I won't put the effort in and do something like that's not or quote unquote breaking rules? Have you like ever done that since you got into the game?
Of course, but it's the minority of the time, and it's not. It's again that's a false equivalency because it would be more of like I know Tinder game, but you find out that I barely do Tinder. I meet most of my girls on seeking arrangement. It would be more of like that type of thing. The problem isn't that Myron or Fresh they occasionally bend the rules because whatever they're lazy or something like that, or because they're whatever they want to fuck around. It's like they're saying one thing and doing the other consistently. That's where the issue lies. It's not like them kind of bending the rules here and there a little bit.
Yeah, but for me, it's just like it's not like the same rules, like always constant, like different things. Like you can slip up like multiple times. I so like if it's consistent, like every time he's leading with his wallet, like every single time you see like he's leading with his wallet, okay, bet. Or every time like Myron DMs a girl, he's like saying the wrong things. Like okay, he's doing it all the time. Maybe sometimes like sure, why not? But like if it's all the time, like I don't see like it's all the time that he's doing like quote unquote bad game DM.
So to answer the question, why not? Because the stuff that he's doing is not even effective. Like the Anna Quinn situation, that was really poor text game on his part. Like he was trying to logically, his goal is to bang Anna. That's fine. Okay, I have actually no problem with Myron leveraging his podcast to LA. I don't. Sorry, can you hear me? Hello?
Is that in?
You kind of broke up there. There's a lot of light. Can you turn down the light? Because the audio is pretty bad, and now it's like there's a lot of light in the background.
Get better?
It's a little better, man. Yeah. So what I was saying is, like for example, with the Anna Quinn situation, the crackling is really bad, bro. I don't know what happened to your audio, but it kind of we got to do something about the audio. Because I can't hear you now. All right, while he gets that fixed, we'll take some questions. Anyone that thinks Alex critiquing Fresh is hating is really on some smooth brain time. Agreed. Hey, so you're afraid and nervous you bump to Myron? You seem intimidated hating on the people's success that have been people who self-prove their life better. Okay, so I don't know how many times I can say the same thing. I don't hate on Myron. I don't wish him any ill will. I've even given him some advice on helping him minimize his chances of getting canceled, just because I don't want to see like anything bad happen to them personally. So no, I'm not nervous. I think we probably would either not talk or maybe just have a brief discussion. But no, that would be the extent of it. Yo.
Yeah, so you're explaining the Anna Quinn situation. All right, go ahead. Explain that.
All right, so what I was saying about the Anna Quinn situation, bro, the crackling. Oh, shit. Do you know why the crackling is coming from?
I don't know. Maybe should I put the headphones again? Let me see.
Yeah, try the headphones or try maybe not moving the the phone, because maybe it's when you move it. Yeah, because the crackling is like super bad. Dang. Shit. Apologies for the quick tech issues. All right, while he does that, I'll take any more questions. As Alex bumped a fit since the day game video, have you seen them outfield and assess their games? I've bumped into Fresh several times. We don't really. I mean, most of the times I've seen him, he was like doing something. I'm not gonna like blow up the spot. We just kind of like make eye contact and then just do our thing. I have not seen Myron in a while. But again, like if we run into each other, there's not gonna be like some big conflict. We would either ignore each other or we might have like a brief discussion. But I don't wish the guys any ill will. And I don't think they wish me any ill will either. Okay. Let's see.
Let's see if that's better. Is that better?
I think so. But you got like the light in the background, like just fucking. I can barely see you. That's better. That's better.
Change rooms. Okay. All right.
That's better.
Anna quit. Go ahead. Go.
Anna quit. So that was really bad text game. It wasn't him bending the rules. It was him just doing something that's really ineffective because he's trying to logic his way into attraction. So his goal is to bang Anna Quinn. Fine. I have no problem with him using his podcast to get laid. He just did it in a very ineffective way. And that to me shows, okay, if he's doing that in his personal life, then he doesn't really have a good understanding of game. Because if he did, he wouldn't do that because it's extremely ineffective what he was doing with that texting.
Like as far as like technique, he explained it saying that like because she's far away, she's on the other side of like the country, like him. Like you guys are in Miami, I think she lives in LA if I'm not mistaken, and that like the chances of her like getting her, like he's not putting that much effort into it. As far as him, what he's doing, like it's a bad business decision because he used to move to a friend and the text game wasn't great.
It's a horrible business decision. Like the first rule of business, you don't shit where you eat, and that's like he's breaking that, but that's a different story.
But like yeah, so like for you, like if a girl lived in like England or something like that, would you like put in some super effort? Yeah, like I think his problem was basically in that like not necessarily like trying to hide it kind of like and then spring it on her. That was his problem. Like I would have worded that differently. I would have said like something like yeah, like I'm interested, I want you to come on the podcast, but I'm also interested in dating. Like make it clear because it's kind of like sprung it on her. But like
right. Yeah, I agree with that. Well, first of all, I wouldn't really be pursuing girls that don't live in the same city as me because there's so many hot girls in Miami, and Anna, God bless her soul, is not anything special. So there's plenty of girls who are like way hotter than her in Miami. So I think the whole thing is a waste of time in the first place. Well, let's assume for the sake of the argument that she's a perfect 10. Yeah, I would have owned it. Yeah, I would have been more front. But what the real problem that he did is he got super butthurt when she wasn't falling into his frame. So she was like, wait, so are you trying to date me or blah, blah, blah? Or, have me on the podcast? I might have said a little bit of both with a winky face, right? And then he gave her like this like high value man. And then she was flirting back. Like she didn't get butthurt until the very end. She was flirting back. She was like, well, maybe you should have me on your podcast and I can give you a few tips about picking up girls. And I would have handled that as a shit test. I would have been like, good idea. Afterwards, maybe you can discipline me because I know nothing about game. Like I would have over exaggerated. But again, his whole thing is every time he gets a shit test, he gets defensive and he starts logically arguing with a girl. So the problem wasn't the fact that he kind of put his cards on the table. It was in how he put his cards on the table and also what happened after he got some pushback. Because the situation might still have been salvaged after he said that when she gave him a little pushback, because he could have kind of turned that around. I've had situations where a girl gives me pushback because maybe I go like a little too fast and I turn it around because I can just kind of weave and bob and turn things around. But what he did was effectively horrible text game.
So like as far as like that being a shit test, I would see it if that wasn't like she didn't send a message that she sent after. because she sent like one message at 10 and then one like first saying about a different like the mutual friend they had, and they said how they showed messages of like what people are saying about his text game. It seems like more of a taunt, you know. If it was like just like she said, "Oh, you should have me on the podcast to talk to women," I could see that shit test, but it's like more of a taunt, like, "Oh, look at this, like look at this." Like she shows text messages of people on the podcast of her on her Instagram saying about how horrible his sex game is and is she tripping and all stuff like that. That's where like I think like it's more like taunting.
So Junior, we got to keep the facts straight. So she did that after he went on that tangent and lectured her after he failed that shit test. Also, I don't want to dwell on this too long, but she also blocked his name out, so she didn't like reveal him, like dox him in any way. It was he who doxed her first. But
no, as far as that point, like as far I want to speak like Carol, because I didn't speak on that situation. As far as like blocking the name out, it's still a taunt to him because like regardless if you block the name out, she's showing him messages. Like if you did that to her, it's like we talked about how FreshandFit like said those mean comments about her. If he did that to her, like his Instagram or his comments, it's like, oh, this is what the girls are saying. Like, this is what the guys are saying. Like, you should just like stop, not message me, and then showed her the messages. What would have said in that situation? Like if he showed her the messages that way before she before that situation, like it's kind of like if it was a taunt, like it was a taunt, like her taunting him and showing like, look at this, like these you're bad again, like it was bad, and he did react bad afterwards. Like there's no like you shouldn't have like as a man you should have frame. Even if a girl taunts you, you shouldn't push back. You should know de-escalate, not do and like. But like as far as like who revealed who, docs who, she did reveal his name first. Like, and it doesn't matter about who has bigger following, but like who revealed who. Like if a conversation is private between two people, regardless of who has the bigger following, you shouldn't like show it on. You shouldn't show it on the
She
internet.
censored out his name. That was the thing. She censored out his name. I've done that many times where a girl is being ridiculous over Tinder. I screenshot it. I completely block out her face and name, and I post it to my Instagram stories. And some chicks, they're like, "Oh, why the fuck did you say that? Can you take that down?" I'm like, no. Like, sorry. Like, you were like being a real bitch, and now the whole world is laughing. But I always block out their face and their name, and she blocked out his face and name. So she did.
Yeah, in the messages part, but like afterwards when they had gotten to like he came after she showed him the messages, and then he's like, you see when someone's ran about that she's a hoe and all this other stuff like that, and said go, and then he gave her permission, technically gave her permission to post it on her Instagram, and she did do that.
But before, okay, so again, this was a little while ago. I want to make sure I have my facts right, but I believe what happened was she did that poll, but she kept him anonymous, so no one had any idea who he was. Which I have no problem with people doing that. I've done that myself. As long as you keep the person anonymous, it's not a problem. Then she showed him the poll or whatever, and he's like, go ahead, bitch. But before she had a chance to do anything, he screenshotted that, posted to his Instagram story, and said these like something like, I'm the Punisher for a reason. And then but he doxed her first, technically. Then a lot of guys started DMing her, and then she responded. Right? So he did dox her first in that situation.
So I'm pretty sure that's not how it went. Like, I'm pretty sure that like it was that like she showed him the messages, he called her like names, which is bad, and then he said, go ahead and repost it. And then she said, I'll happily put on you on blast if you like. And then I believe she did post that, and then he screenshotted what she posted, put it on the Instagram. I believe that's how it went. I could double check that, but if it was the way that you said it, then yes, I'm completely on board. He's bad. He's in the wrong for that. Well, he's in the wrong. Both of them in the wrong anyway. Like in that situation, should be just like if a conversation is private, it should be private. But like he took it too far. Like yeah, I agree with that. He took it too far.
I'll have to double check that myself because it was a while ago. But anyway, I think we're getting a little bit besides the point. The point I want to make, okay, let me ask you a question. Do you think that what Myron, his text game, for what you saw in that interaction, do you think it was good text game or bad text game?
Bad. He didn't put any effort into it.
Yeah. But not only that he was lazy, he just like did a lot of shit that you shouldn't do. He just got like combative and argumentative. One of the big tenets of being advanced, being good with girls, is the ability to stay very grounded and let shit roll off your shoulders. That's how when you get a shit test, like when I get a shit test, it doesn't faze me. I just let it roll off my shoulders. It's the same thing as like if a 2-year-old is like, "You're ugly, Alex." I'm not gonna be like, "No, you're fucking ugly, you little 2-year-old. You're a fucking piece of shit," right? No, you're just like, "Oh, that's cute," right? That's how you handle shit tests. Myron is the kind of guy that would argue with a 2-year-old. "Oh, fuck you. I make more money than you. What do you do at 2 years old?" Again, I want to bring this back because I don't want to get off topic, is that I see case after case of them having poor game. Like another case I will bring up, when Myron's seeking arrangement profile got doxxed. Not by me. I would never dox him, but since it was already out, I made a video reviewing that, right? And his first profile picture is objectively a horrible photo because it's super fucking posed. So a guy who's like who knows game would know that and would not make that photo as their main. So again, that just to me suggests, the previous guy I had on, he asked me, okay, well, how would you rate, Fresh and Fit? And I would say intermediate. And I will stand by that. I think Myron has, he has pretty good confidence. I think he has that kind of like almost like drunk belligerent confidence. I think he's pretty dominant, pretty assertive. And I think he understands some level of female psychology. But at the same time, he's fairly insecure. He has a lot of ego problems. He fails most shit tests. He has some incorrect theories about female psychology in game. So overall, I would put him at intermediate. I would put Fresh in that same category. I mean, would you agree or would you disagree with that?
So I've seen like more of the podcasts, like they do other stuff that show signs of him actually knowing what females are thinking. Like, and I've seen girls like we talk about body language and how they react. I've seen episodes where like he did the role play about, okay, if you were a guy for a week, how would you get laid? And then he kind of predict about what girls would say and how they react, and they seem responsive, like, oh yeah, that's how it would react, and knows how to combat that. So I've seen signs of him having good game, and I've seen signs of having bad game. So it's like I see a mix, like because I watch a lot of their shows, and like
that would kind of put them intermediate if they have signs of good game and signs of bad game. I would put them intermediate, and I've kind of acknowledged that there's some things that Myron does well and some things that he doesn't do so well, and that makes him intermediate, right? If he fixes all the things that he doesn't do well, then he can be advanced. He can actually, if I was his coach, I could get him like way better results because I'd be like, dude, you have clout, you're tall, you're jacked. Like, we just got to fix some of these mistakes you're making, and you can, get way better results. So yeah, I mean, would you classify?
So your argument is basically your argument is that his game could be better, but that could be said for anybody, right? Like,
no. I'm saying that he is intermediate because there's some pretty big mistakes that he's making. And if I was his coach and he listened to me, I could help him fix those mistakes and he could make pretty big jump in results. For example, with me, of course I could get better, but I'm at a point now where I'm getting diminishing returns. So yeah, I could get like 5-10% smoother. I could get 10% more dominant and assertive, but I'm at a point of diminishing returns. That's kind of what happened. It's the same thing with bodybuilding, right? You start working out, you're making gains. If you've been working out for a while, you can still make gains, but you make diminishing returns. Myron's still at a point where he can still make pretty easy big gains. I'm at a point where, I'm just getting diminishing returns, right? So I don't want to like make it a dick measuring contest about who's better, who's not better, but that's the point I'm trying to make.
Well, yeah, it doesn't really matter who's better. It's just better who, like, is he qualified to give advice? That's basically the gist of it. It doesn't matter who's better. Is he qualified to give advice? If he is, then let him live. But if he's not, then yeah, maybe you shouldn't.
So there's no such thing. It's not black and white. You're either qualified or you're not qualified. I think anyone is free to give advice. I don't have any problem with an intermediate guy giving advice. That's on him. What I have a problem is lying, misleading, and hypocrisy. So if they stop doing all those three things, then there is no problem, right? There's nothing I can criticize them on just because they're intermediate. Okay, it is what it is. I would consider myself, let's say, intermediate at fitness, right? I know fitness pretty well, but I still have a lot of work to do. I've given a few, I've done a few fitness videos, right? I don't see that as problematic as me giving advice on fitness because I'm not lying or misleading people. Like I start my videos like, hey guys, I'm not really an expert on this, but here are some of the things that I do in the gym that worked really well for me. So you guys can try them. That's not problematic. But if I come on and say, yo guys, I fucking got fitness handled. I got this shit down. Buy my product, which is going to help you get jacked. And you find out I'm like on TRT, HGH, a whole bunch of other steroids. I'm not even that jacked. You're going to be like, what the fuck?
So about the product, so like, have you personally or have you known anybody have done, I guess, DMs on demand that, and you show there's been cases where it's not been working? I know you use his example, but like he's selling a product, so obviously it's free for anybody to use it. So have you seen cases where people have used it and like, oh shoot, it's not working? Have people come to you and say, oh?
No, but to be fair, we don't really have. Usually, people who buy DMs on demand, they're pretty, diehard fans, and they usually aren't fond of me. So, no, I have not seen that, but I also don't really know anyone who's bought the product. And maybe at some point, I should buy the product myself and review it. So I'm basically criticizing them on stuff that I see freely available on YouTube. And again, that's like some of the stuff I pointed out. Him saying one thing, doing the other, leading with the wall is a big one. Okay, just to kind of go back to this, I brought this up with the first guy. I thought the episode with Academics was really interesting because Academics was like, I respect the guy. He's straight up. He's like, Fresh. Honestly, guys like me and you, we wouldn't really get pussy if it wasn't for a Clout and podcast. Why? Because they're both not that attractive guys. Like they're both kind of like, below average looks, right? And Academics knows that. And he's like, and Fresh just got hardcore defensive. He's like, yo, fuck you, Academic. He didn't say fuck you. He's like, no, maybe you need Cloud, but for me, it's just.
He said he had better game. He said he had better game. Yeah, I remember that.
I got game. And Academics like grilled him on that. He was like, Fresh, like, just be honest, man. Like, it's not a big deal. Like, he did that. Academics was pretty good in that. Like, he basically called him out and Fresh got super defensive on that. Now, if Fresh had come out and said, like, dude, you're right. Fucking thank God we have this podcast and I get pussy. I'll be like, okay, respect. Like, he's honest, he's upfront.
So for that situation, yeah. For me, my personal opinion on Fresh, I can't confirm or deny. It doesn't seem like he has really that good a game. He claims to have a good game. I can't confirm or deny that. But like me, my personal opinion, I don't think he has a good game. But that being said, I can't confirm or deny that. In that conversation, like the whole girl situation, like just be honest, she has been simp. Like we know it. He knows it. His girl knows it. Everybody knows it. Like that whole like girl, that situation where I think her name is Miranda. Like we all know he's being simped. He knows it. The girl knows it. Everybody knows it. So like,
well, that's the thing though. Hang on, Junior, because he's denying that. He's denying it, and most of his followers are defending him. So yeah, me and you know it, but a lot of the guys don't know it because he's denying it. He's not coming out and saying, "I really like this girl. I have a crush on her. So yeah, I'm gonna simp for her a little bit." Okay, that's cool. I break some of the rules with my girlfriend. I wouldn't say I simp for her, but I break some rules for her. But I'm not gonna then say our situations are completely different though. Like the way I met my girlfriend, the way he met his girlfriend. Mm-hmm. But he's vehemently denying that he's simping. He's saying, "Oh no, she's not like the other girls. She likes me for my game or whatever." And okay, how did you get her? Well, invite her on a yacht. She was before. She kept saying no, and then invite her on my yacht, and then she came on. Okay, then you find out she's on seeking arrangements. It's like you just see this pattern. And again, I wish him the best of luck in that relationship. I hope it goes well. I hope she really likes him for him. I bear this guy no ill will. But we gotta call a spade a spade.
Yeah, like for the Miranda situation, that thing I can't say really anything about that as far as like defending or anything because like he is being simp. Like as far as like do people believe him? Like I did look at the comments and it seems like the majority of people don't believe him. Like, and I know like for a fact like I don't believe Fresh for multiple reasons. Like he said he has 1,000 leg count.
That's nonsense. Yeah.
Sure, but then I remember when he said print like Abba and Prince, the Abba and Preach thing where he said that like all the girls had like would say good things about him. Like, okay, like yeah, that doesn't match up. Like 1,000 girls said that like they would say good things about you in their previous relationship with you. So like that, like
Yeah.
this one other.
He
So
caps, man. He caps all the time. Like that story about basketball. Like, that was the biggest cap ever. He's like, yeah, so I met this famous NBA guy, and then he asked me where the parties are, and then somehow he invited me to his party, and then I banged 3 girls that night. Like, that's like the biggest lie ever. Like, why lie about that stupid shit? Like, I don't know. Like, to me, like when I hear people lie like that, I'm just like, what the fuck?
So my suggestion to him, if he wants to save himself, is I say leak his it's personal, but leak his or convince his girlfriend to show the Instagram messages that he sent her before, like before he invited on the yacht. Like if he showed her messages and then she seemed like she was receptive before he invited on the yacht, then I think that's the only way he can really save himself out in that situation. If he show the message and she seemed receptive for the yacht thing, that's how he can save himself. So if he like shows the messages.
That would be more than good enough proof for me. If he shows that and she actually is being interesting, and it was just the timing, maybe it was a weird timing thing. And I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. But then when I saw that she was on Seeking Arrangements, actually my roommate was messaging her before she met Fresh, and they were talking about on Seeking Arrangements. So that's why I was like, okay, like something is up here. But yeah,
like as you go first. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, my big advice to them is just like people already like you. You don't need to cap. You don't need to mislead. You don't need to bullshit. You'll get less sales, but you'll still be pretty rich. Like you don't have to. Like it's just greed. Either you're lying at this point because of your ego, or you're lying because you're greedy for more money. Like just be upfront. You will still be millionaires. Like stop lying about all this stupid shit. Like I have 1,000 late count. I the door was locked. I met this basketball player and hooked me up with 3 girls. Like most people know you're lying. It's not a good look. Just stop lying. Just be straight up. Stop misleading people. Just call a spade, and you'll still be popular. Like, so I don't know if they're like kind of fallen victim to their own success, and now they're like, they believe their own like bullshit. You tell a story long enough, you start to believe it. I don't know what the reason is why they keep doing what they're doing, but
like on the Fresh side, I can say like for me personally, I believe he's lying. For Myron's side, I do generally believe like the way he is the way he is. He does like act like that, like maybe 95% of the time, like he really does. Like sometimes he slips up and not act like how he is. But like so I guess if you're like half the podcast is like not acting like how he's saying he's acting, it does seem bad. But like Myron's really the voice of the show, so most people are gonna follow him. And by the way, you shouldn't really just follow a person. Like as far as techniques, like if you're just following like you or FreshandFit and just doing what they say, it's not gonna work. Your results are not gonna work either way because you're not being genuine. You're not a leader. You're just following people. You're not putting your own interpretation in there. But like as far as game goes, yeah. It's hard to like.
But then again, there's also troubling things on Myron's part that I see. It's not just Fresh as like it's just all Fresh. Like there's some troubling things that with Myron that I see pop up time and time again. So they both do a fair amount. Troubling.
But my personal opinion is that I think they like the advice they have now. They can get people to a certain level, and what they should be doing is when they take in the information, just try to make it better. Like how you do, like you see the information, that could possibly work. How can I make that information better? I think that's how people should be pushing, or I think they're approaching it. Like, okay, there's an advice. How can I make that better? Use it for me.
Right. And I agree that would be, in an ideal world, they would do it that way. I see it as a huge money grab because they're literally trying to make money on anything and everything. Like now they're charging people to like hang out backstage and watch their show. Like when they had their 100K party, they charge people for that. Like they're literally charging for anything and everything. Like, dude, like sometimes I have extra people come when we're recording a podcast. I don't make them pay anything. I'm like, dude, grab a drink, chill out. Like, I'm gonna have my 100K party soon. I'm not gonna charge people for that. Like, dude, you supported my channel, come on that. So I do see like a big money grab, and I think that's what's driving a lot of their behavior. Is just like, okay, how can we maximize every dollar we make? And if your goal is to maximize money, then you're not going to tell the truth because you can make more money with lying. I could make more money if I go on my sales page and say, hey guys, no matter how good looking you are, how bad looking you are, no matter how bad your financial situation is, no matter who you are, my product will make you a fucking Tinder pimp. I'll get a lot more sales, but I'll also be lying to people.
But no one would believe that. No one would believe that. Like no one, like no matter, like if people follow your advice or their advice, no one's gonna be 100% successful in the game. That's not really how it works. It's just like it gives people a better chance. So like it took that's a really extreme example saying like you use my product, it's gonna work. Like it's not really how it works, especially with game. Like it's still at the end of the day, numbers.
Right, but okay. So they have a course, DMs on demand, and the premise of the course is that this will help you for the average guy. This will help you, improve your Instagram, help you meet chicks off Instagram, without flexing your resources, right? Because they know that most of the guys don't have resources. And then you find out that, that the only way that, most chicks are rating Fresh's Instagram as bad, and you find out that the only way they are meeting, chicks is by leading with their wallet. So it's like you see this pattern like over and over again. So again, it's not like a little thing. It's not like, I say, hey, I can give you guys 10 matches a day and you wind up getting 8 matches a day. That's a little bit of a white lie, right? It's like I say I can get you 10 matches and you get like 1 match a day. So again, I just don't see that. The fact that, exaggeration is part of it. Well, I would challenge people to find one example why significantly exaggerate. I don't really do that. I know a lot of other YouTubers who don't do that. Like I'm pretty straight up. Do I tell a white lie here and there? Yeah, sometimes. But there's no significant exaggeration or misleading at all. And I would challenge anyone to try to find that on my part, right? Because I've decided that, I'm going to keep things fairly ethical. And I'll still make a good amount of money. Like I'm still financially well off. I don't need to squeeze every dollar out of my audience. But that comes down to, and again, this is why I say I don't bear them in your will, but I am going to criticize, what I see as problematic behavior as long as I have a platform. Because it is important, because there's a lot of people who are young and impressionable who are going to be like, oh shit, this sounds good, and they fall for this, and then they get bitter when it doesn't work out because they're not fucking, famous, Instagram famous or whatever.
Like their technique is specifically for being because your game obviously is just work on game, because there's different type of game. Your game is just more about cold pushing, learning the right thing to say, improving your chances. Their game is improve yourself completely, and then you have higher chances of getting girls. So it's like.
Well, it's not really a fair categorization of my game because I heavily talk about, for example, in my product, one of the first chapters about improving your sexual market value. So I'm also really big on improving yourself and self-improvement. So that's a huge portion of, what I teach and what I go into. Let me just get a drink real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
But I don't think we're disagreeing on too much. Again, I think that we both agree, and correct me if I'm wrong because I don't want to put words in your mouth, that, there's cases where FreshandFit are exaggerating, lying, and that, but your kind of defense is that, well, you shouldn't take their stuff literally. And that might be a fair defense, but a lot of people do take their stuff literally. Like there's a lot of young, impressionable guys there. I've coached them. I've met them. Like a lot of guys, they really develop a hero complex with I've seen it with myself, dude. Like some of these guys, they treat me like I'm some kind of a god, and you shouldn't do that. As awesome as I am, I'm just a normal human being. And I do see this kind of hero worship that goes on. And a lot of these guys, they have way more of an audience than I do. So they have even more guys who are worshiping them. And they're impressionable young men who will do basically whatever the fuck you tell them to do. So you have that power in your hands. You have to you have to use it, for the betterment. You can't use it in a shitty way.
So it's just ethic things, ethic, they're doing that, you think they're abusing your power, basically. You're saying they're abusing their power.
I'm saying that's what you should do if you're a decent human being. But again, my main criticism lies in the hypocrisy and the lying. I'd never go after people for ethics. I just brought up really quickly once, I probably shouldn't have, because I think ethics are personal. So my criticisms, whenever I do roast videos of people, it's never about ethics. It's always about practicality and hypocrisy.
I can see that. I am for ethics too. I think you should have some type of ethics. Like some of their ethics are quote unquote bad, but as far as like their power and all that stuff, like pure worship, like that can like happen to anybody. You can try to like for the people. Like I would give you this. They like for the people that like I remember what's his name, 360 or something like that.
Sorry, go ahead.
That I think his name was 360 or something like that. That DM'd Anna Quinn or
Yeah.
something like that. I think like in that situation, even though they both did back, Myron and Anna had a back and forth, and regardless of who was wrong and right, like he should have reached out to 360 and said, "Yo, you should apologize. It's not what we do. Like it's
Yeah.
not what we do."
And
In our
it's not-
podcast.
Yes, and it's just not just Anna Quinn, that Monica chick. You can say anything you want about her, but she was respectful on their show. You know, they invite her on. She tried to be respectful. She wasn't like being a bitch. She's not a belligerent woman. You know, she's fairly chill, normal girl. She may hold some, some points that I disagree with, that you and I disagree with, which is fine. But she's not a bad person. And she showed me, like, I didn't really believe this even until she showed me the screenshots in her, because I thought she was just exaggerating. Then she showed me the screenshots that she was getting, and it's like really nasty stuff. And Fresh and Fit does need to go on and denounce that, which I haven't really seen them do. I think they did it once way after, but they should have right off the bat said, hey, guys, this is not cool. Don't DM these girls. And if they had done that, most of those guys would have stopped, because they're doing it because they think that's what they should do to defend their gods. But Fresh and Fit need to go on and say, like, guys, don't harass these girls. It's not cool. It's not going to get you points with us.
Yeah.
Please don't do it. They should have put a stop to that immediately, but they didn't, because they kind of like it. They kind of like that power they have, where they can get like their fans to like do shit like, fuck this bitch, she disagrees with us. Well, she's gonna get the wrath of or fucking 400,000 fans.
That's one point we can completely 100% agree on. Like, so, like, as far as whatever they're doing, like whatever, like their screens where Monica, Hussein, whoever. As far as like bullying is never cool. Like, I know he kind of says bullying is cool, but like not. I don't think he means in that sense. Like as like really like messaging a person and saying this like that, because like he said that he got it too. So I think. Like, yeah, he should, like, as his responsibility, as he's like, popular, he should go to every person and say, yo, you're not a fan of mine if you're gonna do this to people I have on my podcast. So, like, in that, I think I completely agree. Like, if he goes
let me put this comment on the screen, because when the Anna Quinn stuff first broke in July, Mara told the stream to go put her on blast, and Fresh put her IG link in the chat. That is true. I do remember that. He actually linked her IG in the chat. So not only did they not come out against it, they pretty much encouraged it. They pretty straight up encouraged what 360 Blessings did, which is fucked up, man. Like, that is fucked up. Like, I don't know. Like, I think that shit is like so fucked up, honestly. Like, because she's like encouraging people to like harass and abuse someone. Like, why? Like, it's just a fucking silly thing.
So that's completely lame. The only thing I would ask is, did her side do that to him too? Because you got to be fair to both sides. Like, did this side do that to him too?
That I do not know. I've never seen, any evidence that they did. It could have been possible. I really have no idea. I still don't think two wrongs make a right. But like, for example, when my whole thing with Ask Nelly was going on, her side was sending me nasty DMs. I specifically, when I announced, I said, guys, do not harass her at all. So even though she was doing it to me, I completely told my fans, do not do that right away. So I don't think two wrongs make a right. And I don't think
I would agree, but then that 360 situation, I believe that what happened after that, like he sent a message. They had him on Don and Duke's podcast, and Alba came on, and then he said he gave him permission to post to his subscribers to talk to say something to 360 about what he posted to Anna Quinn, and then he's getting hit for that too. So that's kind of like the same thing. So like you have to.
I think Kaizen just commented on this, and this kind of goes back to my recollection as well. She did not reveal who he was in her screenshots before he doxed her, which is what my recollection was as well. I'll double check, but that's how I remember it as well. Is that she did not reveal who he was until he doxed her first. and then he plugged her. They said put her on blast, and they plugged her Instagram in the chat. So they they're pretty responsible for that situation largely, and they docked her first, and they encouraged their fans to harass her. Again, I mean that's just like shit.
If he did doctor first, like I'm pretty sure that wasn't the case. But like regardless, he shouldn't have done what he did afterwards. Like putting on Instagram. Like regardless, like he shouldn't have done that afterwards. I'm pretty sure I gotta look at it again that she revealed his name first. And like no, and I'm not being clear. Like just because she starts a fire doesn't mean you have to put gasoline in it and keep on do that.
We can double check that because I'm not 100% confident in that because it was a while ago. So we can double check that and maybe we can make a comment in this after the stream what exactly.
Yeah, if you show me that, like I'm like, all right, yeah, I'm like if you show me that she didn't like reveal his name first, 100%. I'm like I'm 100% on your side. I'm not a fanboy, so like yeah, if you show me that, then I'm completely on your side on that point. I'm like, nah, that's not cool. You shouldn't do that, and I'll call them out for that.
I think that's what we need. I think we need fans to hold their content creator responsible. I want my fans to do that to me too. If I'm lying or misleading you guys, which I'm not, but like if you see that I'm doing that, hold me accountable. And I think their fans need to hold them accountable. I think the problem is that they ban pretty much anyone who disagrees with them. So anyone who like in any way like criticizes them or anything like that. They ban them. They do not like criticism. They do not like anyone who's like.
Yeah, you brought that up. So like you talked about debating. Like you should debate this guy and that guy, or like Kevin Way Wilder, or whatever his name is. Like you said, you should debate him. Yeah, so that's a big topic about is he a Clout for doing that, or should he get the opportunity to debate them? You think he should debate them? Like he should get the opportunity to debate them? Do you think that?
Well, again, I think that it would be good content. I think that if, for example, if I debated Myron, that video would get a shitload of views. I mean, a lot of people have publicly said, "Yo, if Alex debates Myron, like I would watch the whole episode." Like, so I think that would be like a big video. Ultimately, I would be down for it. It would be up to them. Should they do it? I think it would be good. I think it would help. I think it would help their cause because, like, for example, Donovan Sharp. I never liked the guy. But then I see that he debated Kevin. He debated Guste. Gained massive respect for him. People respect you. People respect you and trust you more when you're willing to hold your ideas to scrutiny. But when you're, like, afraid of criticism and scrutiny, that's when people like lose respect for you. So I think it would be good. It doesn't have to be me. It doesn't have to be Kevin. There's a lot of other people. I just think that they're very intellectually disgenuine with their debates. And I'll explain why. First of all, when they debate these chicks, the chicks are usually drunk. They say, "Oh, we don't want the chicks to get drunk." But from every girl I've heard who was on the podcast, there's massive amounts of alcohol, and they're like constantly refilling their drinks. So they say one thing, they do the other. Why? Well, because if a chick is drunk, it's more likely that she's going to do something goofy or silly and, get more clickbaity shit. 2, they take away their cell phones, and they don't do it with the guys. They take away the chicks' cell phones. So if you and I are having a debate and I can fact check you live on air and you can't fact check me, I have a huge advantage. That's the second thing. 3 is Myron is usually very prepared. So he has like a notepad and stuff, but they don't tell the girls the topics ahead of time. So the girls going into these debates completely unprepared versus Myron, sober, has his notes written out, and he has his phone so he can fact check. So I think they're quite intellectually disgenuine in a lot of ways. And I think they could put that to rest if they actually have a real debate. Like you and I are having a real debate right now. I didn't tell you, I didn't take away your cell phone, I didn't get you drunk, I didn't like bring up something out of the blue. Like this is like a real debate. This is what debate should be.
So about the getting drunk thing, it's ultimately their responsibility about how much you drink. I don't want to say that they're getting them drunk because that kind of seems like they're forcing to drink. They're adults. They're like I can go on like if I come to your house and you're like, oh, let's have this talk, and like you said you have a drink there, it doesn't mean I have to drink it. They're responsible for their actions. So like that, I would say about that. Second thing about the phone. For the phone thing, I do believe that they have the major guests. I do like they give special treatment to the people that are major, like conceited or whoever's like the people that usually have the day show with. They give more special treatment than the people like the girls because I know that it's kind of bad. They see the girls as interchangeable. They see the girls as interchangeable. It doesn't really matter what the girls are in the circle. They can always be changed with any hot girls. So they see value in the people that are like the major guests, like people like Ronnie J or academics, whoever's in that big major sheet. They see more valuable, so they allow them to keep the phone. And what they say about girls, about how they say that girls like have short attention spans, which is a bad. Like it's a topic in itself, saying they have bad attention spans. They will always be constantly on the phone. It's like, is there argument to it? That's whoever's whatever you want to say about that.
I mean, you can use my podcast to kind of get the answer to that. For example, I have chicks on. I've been doing this for 2 months. I never asked to take away the girls' phones, and I don't think you can point out a single episode where the girls spend a lot of time on the phone. They don't, because they know it's a podcast. So to argue that, these chicks will be on their phone the whole time, that hasn't happened to me once. And if the girl is on her phone, then you tell her to put it down. Like, hey, excuse me, we're doing a podcast here, ma'am. Could you put your phone down? Like, easily addressed. If she won't do it, then sure, kick her out. But I don't think that's why they do it. I think, again, they do it because that will allow them to win the argument, because the girls can't fact check them, but they can fact check the girl. That's like bringing a knife. Let's bring like a gun to a knife fight. When you can fact check someone live on air and they can't fact check you. So,
but
I think the whole
only
thing
the only counter to that is that they allow girls to come back. So, like, yeah, sure, the first time they got them by surprise, but like they allow girls to come back so they can come back. And like that Monica video, they I believe they allowed her, said like she can come back, she can bring her feminist friends, she can have her facts, and she can come back. So like you do allow opportunities for girls to come back, and I think Monica just turned it down because she said she wouldn't be celebrated, whatnot, whatever her personal reasons were not for coming back. But they did allow her for opportunity to come back, be prepared, have her facts, have friends, whoever she wanted to. So you do have like, okay,
sure,
I guess you can. Yeah, the first time they got you.
But the girl doesn't know the topics, so the topics are a little bit different every time, and they don't tell the girls the topics in advance. I've heard that from multiple girls. Second of all, the reason that Monica didn't come back is she told me, and I have no reason not to believe her, is that she got in the elevator and the producer was like walking her out of the show, I think Aaron, and she just literally said, "Hey, thank you for having me on. It was a good discussion." And then he just went off on her saying, "This is why you're single. You'll never get a man, blah, blah, blah." So he was just humongously disrespectful to her. Then she starts getting nasty DMs. So why the fuck would she come back? She's being disrespected. I consider that very disrespectful. Like, if I find out, like, if I have you on my podcast, I found out that my roommate, like, goes off on you in the elevator, I'm going to apologize to you, and I'm going to reprimand that person, because that's not acceptable. And why would she come back? She's being treated like shit, and, by the producer of the show, and she's getting nasty DMs. Like, what would be her motivation at that point to come back? To prove a point? She'll never convince the audience anyway.
Well, she might not convince the Fresh and Fit podcast audience, but like they're gonna post it and they have a lot of audience. So like, you would see it, other people would see it, and they can like if she can fact like. I think it was worth it if she gets some few nasty DMs. Well, all right, it is a gamble. Like, she's gonna get some bad backlash because that's how people work. People are always gonna do negative things no matter what.
But that's how their fans are. That's not how my fans are. I've never heard any account from chicks saying, "Hey, excuse me, your fans have been harassing me." I've never had that. So it's how their fans are, because they encourage that kind of atmosphere. It's not how my fans are. It's not how most fans are. So I don't think we can just chalk that off to the nature. I do think they kind of encourage that a little bit with some of their behavior, like saying things like I forget what the line was, but like dropping her Instagram and saying, "Put her on blast." You'll never hear me say anything like that. Never in a million years. I think that shit is fucked up.
Yeah. So as far as they should be held more accountable. Like as far as like the comments, I know that the comments, they do that funny thing where they read the comments. I think they should make it clear, like, all right, this is comments, this is what happens, but keep it on this the podcast. Like if you're making comments and doing this funny thing, or like making little funny girls, making fun of me, keep it on the podcast, but don't make it leave the podcast. They should make that clear, like on comments and all that stuff like that. So I think it should.
Which they don't. And despite multiple incidents, like I always like when I had Guste on, the first thing I said, hey guys, listen, you may disagree with Guste, that's fine. You can voice your opinion, but do not for any reason send her DMs, attacking her or anything like that. I don't want to see that. Right? I'm sending a clear message because I know there's potential for some of my audience, to just kind of take things too far, right? And they have the self-awareness to know that. They know this shit. But I don't want to make this like an ethics thing again, like why I'm more ethical than them. Let's kind of bring it back to some of the initial points. So you mentioned when we were chatting that you had some other criticisms, or not criticisms, but things you want to discuss. Let's kind of get into those a little bit.
So I would ask you about like people that you bring on. You bring on Guste, and then you said you agreed with most of her points too about in the whole Donovan thing. Like, are you sure you agree with what she said in that debate? Or are you sure, or you just don't remember what she said in the debate?
Well, the Guste Donovan debate I've watched about a month ago, so I remember most of it. So I'll tell you what I agreed with and what I disagreed with. So the one thing I disagreed with her on significantly is that her, the way she defines rape is like unwanted attention. So, for example, if I'm on a date and I'm with my girl and I'm like, babe, I have blue balls, and she's like, oh, I'm not really feeling it tonight. I'm like, babe, my balls are gonna hurt, and she gives in. Like Guste would define that as rape.
You leaving the back? Yeah. Keep on going.
Guste would define that as rape, whereas I would not. That's just like basic emotional manipulation. The reason I didn't really press her on that is because Guste told me that she's personally has a lot of trauma around rape because she, she's been raped herself, and she just has a lot of trauma about that. And I didn't see a need of like adding salt to the wound and like getting into it with her about that. Also, it's not really a good topic for a YouTuber to discuss. It could like put me in a bad light. So that's that's one thing I disagree with her about. And I actually told her about that off air. I just could sense that she's like has so much anger around that. So I didn't want to just like press on like a sore point. So that's the one thing I disagree with her about. But in terms of the things I agreed with her about, she said that false rape allegations are you have as much chance of getting struck by lightning as you do of having a false rape allegation. Me and Kevin actually fact checked her on that, and that's true. It's about the same. So false rape accusations are not nearly as common as they seem. They're still wrong. They're fucked up, but they're not as like a big of deal as some of the reptile community makes it out to be. I also, when she challenged Donovan, she called Donovan out pretty well. She said, Donovan, you say that you're trying to help men, but I don't really see any videos about you helping men. You're mostly just like doing like, clickbait type of stuff to get people to buy your course and whatnot. And he's like, oh, well, honey, you didn't watch my videos. She's like, Donovan, can you point out one video where you did about helping men? He couldn't point one video out. So I do think that she got it on a few points, but I did disagree with one of the things she said.
On the specific on that Donovan thing, I would say the burden of a premise is on her to look like, because like if I can go right now, if I go on there right now and I find something that does essentially his claim, that looks pretty bad on her. So like if I can find something real quick and I go on there and I find something and I show you that to you, that looks really bad on her if she didn't like double check, because she said she didn't look again after you said that. So I would like if you said that to me, I would like, or no, bet I'll look again, double check that, and if it did say something about that, like, oh, that's my bad. But if it didn't say anything, like, yeah, I checked again, it didn't say anything. So what do you say now? That's the thing. Like, I can see like your point about like you should have said it right now, but like she definitely should have.
He could have shut her down so easily. Like if you ask me, hey Alex, I don't see any videos of you actually doing anything but hating on Fresh and Fit. Show me one video where you're talking about like game strategy. I wouldn't be like, yo, Junior, it's on you to find that. I'd be like, dude, here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bam. Instantly shut you down, win the argument. That's a really easy way to win. If someone accuses you of doing something, you have proof that you're not doing. So if he really, and she said that afterwards, she did go through a lot of his content and she couldn't find any videos like that at all. And I skimmed through very quickly. I couldn't really find anything either. But yeah, that's like a really easy way to win an argument. Like you accuse me of something, I have proof that you're wrong. I very quickly show you the proof instead of saying, well, Junior, you didn't do your research, man. You didn't do your research. That's like a really – why the fuck would I say that if I'm right?
Yeah, I'll double check that. I didn't look at I don't watch Donovan because I don't want to comment on like his character because all right, he's a different breed, so I'll leave it at that. But as far as his facts about did he do this and that, I probably should check that and see that.
Tell me specifically what did I say in that show that where I agreed with Guste that you disagree with me on?
Okay, so about I actually have it in my notes.
Cool.
She's used to. Yeah, one about like you said about rape, rapes getting unreported. Yeah, you agreed with her on that point. Like, how would you quantify and know that things were unreported? How could you quantify and saying like, okay, 75% of this is unreported?
Sure. So it comes from two sources. One is the FBI statistics. So the FBI, has data on this, and they say that something like 70% of rape cases go unreported, something along the lines of that. I haven't looked at how they gather the data, but if it's the FBI, I more or less trust them. That's the first thing, and the second thing is off personal experience. I've hooked up with a lot of girls, and I know a lot of chicks who've been raped. And every time when I hear a girl has been raped, I always ask, "Do you go to the police?" And most of the time, the answer is no. I actually can't recall a single instance where the answer was yes. Pretty much every time, the answer is no, I did not. And I'll try to be like, "Oh, how come?" And they'll be like, "I just didn't want to go through that. I just wanted to blue it out." So I've just seen so many. I know it's a little hearsay, but I've had so many chicks that I've heard that got raped and they didn't go to the police. So it's personal experience and FBI, data. That's where my answer response is coming from.
Yeah. As far as the FBI thing, I just don't see how they can realistically quantify that. But that's here or there. As far
I
another
don't know
thing,
either. That would be interesting to look into. I don't know either because how the fuck do you quantify that? Maybe it's surveys. I don't really know, but I'm sure that FBI is not like some shady third party thing. I'm sure they their data is at least somewhat solid.
do you agree on the part where she says that we should be focusing on we shouldn't mention if a person says that they've been raped, we shouldn't question at all if it was false or not?
No, I disagree with that. I think we should. I think the criminal justice system in the U.S. is innocent until proven guilty, and it doesn't always work out like that in practice. Sometimes you're guilty until proven innocent, but the ideal is innocent until proven guilty, and that's how it should be. So, if a girl is coming after a guy for rape, then that it is fair for the guy to, ask for proof, right? I can't sue you for $100,000 saying you stole from me, and you're like, dude, show me examples. Like, whoa, you don't believe me, man? You'd be like, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think it's the same standard. I think the point she was trying to make was that we need to be maybe I'm characterizing her incorrectly, but we need to be more tactful about it. So I think what she was referencing is one time I think on their show I heard a chick say that I got raped, and mine was he's like, "Did you go to the police?" Right away, and she's like, "No, I did not." He's like, "Okay." So it's just very dismissive. I just think that's not tactful. If a girl told me on my podcast that she got raped, I'd be like, "Damn, I'm really sorry to hear about that. That sucks." Did you ever wind up going to the police? It's just I'll be a lot more tactful about it because it is something that's. But yeah, that's. Sorry, go ahead.
Real quick on that, I understand that, but then when I understand his background, because his was police, he did police and academy things, and that's that background. You do have to know, you gotta have to you have to ask tough questions, basically, you want to be empathetic with
Sure. But he's no longer working for the police. He's running a podcast. He's not an investigator anymore. Yeah. If he's an investigator, sure, but he's not. He's not doing that anymore.
So you're saying
I think.
Yeah,
So,
go
I
ahead.
do think that we do need to ask for proof if we're going to criminally prosecute people. We need proof. But if a girl who I know comes to me and says, "Oh, I got raped the other night," I'm not going to be like, "Where's the proof?" right away. Like I'm not the criminal.
Oh, no.
I'll be compassionate and I'll listen. And maybe I'll ask her if she went
I
to the
don't think
police
he
later on.
acted like that. Like, but yeah, I understand. Like, I
I
don't
think
think he
the point
asked.
she was trying. I think the point she was trying to make is just like be more compassionate. Maybe it wasn't. That's just kind of what I felt, and I agree that we should be compassionate. But I also agree that if we're going to criminally prosecute people, we need proof. We need to we can't just do guilty until proven innocent.
Yeah. Also with Kevin, he had her on her stream for like 5 hours or something like that, and he asked her, he was saying specifically like, yeah, you shouldn't follow FreshandFit and follow stuff with Guste. Guste was giving advice about guys to get laid, to like be straight up and honest about and say that if you want to get laid, say you want to get laid. Do you agree with that? Should you say that? Like, is that a good optimal game? Like as you say, like is that best way to get laid? Like say, yeah, I want to have sex with you. Like to be blunt like that.
Yeah, no, I mean you want to be tactful, obviously. You do want to be honest, but you also want to be tactful. I don't believe in radical honesty, like some instructors teach that. I think that there is a. It's pretty hard to get good feedback on game from girls because a lot of girls do tell you what sounds good in theory, but not what actually works. Which is why if you're interviewing girls, you need to be a good interviewer and you need to ask questions the right way. So you'll see on my show, like I'll ask girls a question and they'll say like some bullshit, and then I just dig deeper and deeper and deeper and get to the truth, right? So they'll give me some general feel good answer. I'll be like, okay. I won't just like, I won't be like, oh, whatever, you're wrong. But okay, but I don't really believe in that. I go deeper and deeper. So that goes into being a skilled interviewer. But no, I disagree with the fact that you should be like super blunt. You do want to be very tactful with it. But I think, again, I didn't see that part, but I think the point she was saying is that you should be upfront, which, some people are not. And I think that goes both ways. Guys and girls should be upfront.
But like, if you just know the way the main dance works, it's just not like that. You don't say like you don't reveal your side. Like if you just know, it's just not how it works. It's just like you're not gonna get results on either side. You're like, well, I want to see like if your girl said to you, I want to see that you have your shit together. I want to see this and that and like that. And you're like, oh wow, she's too much. She's not really liking me for me. If she said that, she reeled her hand too much on that side. It's like, and if you really side on that, like, well, I just want, like, it's more of a mating dance. You kind of reveal the side slowly.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that. You got to play the game. You can't just like, just be, brutally honest. Like, like I don't believe in radical honesty. So yeah, I mean, you got to play the game, but that goes into the problem of just like not even goose day. It's like something like pretty much every girl who doesn't have. There's some female dating coaches who are pretty good at that, like Kezia and Courtney Ryan, because they have the self-awareness to recognize that while this sounds good in theory, it doesn't really work. But if that girl doesn't have that training, that background, just like the average girl, which at the end of the day is what Guste is, she's just your average girl. She's not a dating coach or something like that. I see this all the time. Like chicks give like general feel-good answers that's not really based on things that work. So I don't see that as a Guste problem. I see that as like generally a normal girl problem.
So bring that into FreshandFit. They say that you shouldn't really try to follow girls' advice for the most part, because like we should debunk their common quotes. Like you say, you shouldn't really follow girls' advice for a game. Do you agree with that? Or girls being great leaders? Do you agree with that? Or like with the like stuff like that? Like
yeah, we can go through it one by one, and I think most of them my answer is not gonna be black and white. It's gonna be gray. I think there's elements of truth to it. But I think that you can get really good data from girls if you ask the questions the right way. So let me give you a specific example. Let's say you're trying to figure out if your photo that you have is going to be good for Tinder or not. Now, you could send the photo to a girl and say, hey, do I look good in this? And most girls will say, yeah, you look good. And you're like, oh, this is a good Tinder photo. You asked the question the wrong way. Now, what you should do is you should send her that photo and 4 other photos and say, hey, which one of these photos do you think I look the best in? Which of these do I look second best in? And then you repeat this experiment with 3 or 4 other girls. And if you have a situation where 3 girls agree that this photo is the best, then that's going to be your Tinder profile photo. So a lot of it is how you ask the questions. You can get really good data from girls, again, if you ask the questions the right way. in terms of taking dating advice from girls, if it's a girl who has a high level of self-awareness, then it's okay. Like Courtney Ryan, Kezia Noble, I would be completely comfortable sending my fans to her to get dating advice. The average girl, not so much, right? Because they don't have a high level of self-awareness. So you need a girl who is able to honestly be aware enough to say, you know what, this sounds good in theory, but it would never work on me. And thus it would not work on other girls. So sort of agree, sort of disagree.
Okay. You made a video about money, like about I think money. A short. You made a short real quick about money and would it help you in game. And you had a different interpretation. I guess FreshandFit said that I'll get your money up, and you interpreted it as in like, yeah, I got money, I get girls, and I didn't interpret it that way. I interpreted it as that the mindset to get the money is what gets the girls, like money, and then the opportunity that you have the money, like you can go on dates and this like that can show what you have to offer, like it's like showing what like you have to offer, and that helps your game. So what are your thoughts on about that? Like, because I feel like we had a different interpretation about we made that shirt about money and helping with the game, and how can it help the game.
Yeah. So I believe that Myron has said that before you jump into dating, you should have these. No, sorry, what he said before you jump into a relationship. I'm trying to think. He did say something about 100K thresholds.
Yeah, you said you get your finances in order. Like you shouldn't have. I believe he said you should get your finances in order, which I agree. Like,
I agree with that too. But he said before you do this, and I forget it was either getting in a relationship or getting like in doing cold approach. It was one of those. I don't remember exactly which one, but it was like I agree. Get your finances in order before he said. I don't think you need to hit 100K before you do anything. I do think it's good to get your finances in order. What was the specific thing though you said that you brought up? You said something about. Say that again.
About the money thing.
Yeah.
Asked about like would it help game? Would it help game? And I said I've got different interpretations. Like I had my interpretation of like money can help you game because like the mindset to get money, because you just don't get money unless you're like your trust fund baby. You don't just get money for just doing nothing. Like you have to have a certain type to get the money like that. And I said like, okay, if the people like say people were broke and they follow FreshandFit's advice to get money, that obviously meant they had a certain mentality to get the money, and then
build
turn
confidence, right? You build confidence. Yeah. If that's really what they meant, then I would agree. I interpreted it differently. They were a little vague about it, but if that's really what they mean, then I would agree with that because you make money, you're going to become more confident, you're going to have less stress because you're not worried about paying rent. So it can definitely help you indirectly with game like that. So I don't know that one. I think it's open to interpretation.
All right, paying with Bach, paying for sex.
Yes.
Okay. So you comment on the Ivory Priest thing, and then you said that you think it's a personal choice if you can pay for sex, and I'm personally on the choice for saying that's not a good idea, like pretty much at all. Like, well, I like maybe kind of feel the celebrity status, but like I think there's big ramifications for like advocating to do that.
Right. So just to be very clear, I never advocate for people for paying for sex or anything like that. I do think at the end of the day, like I think what I was arguing against was that they were talking about whether it should be legalized or not.
And I think it shouldn't.
I think it should be legal. And I think Myron and Fresh were arguing that it should stay illegal. But I was saying it should be legal because it's a personal choice. That being said, I don't think it's a good personal choice. I agree with you that most of the time, unless it's done extremely once in a while when you're on vacation, it is going to develop some bad habits. You're going to be lazy. You're not going to be motivated to go out and game. For a whole host of reasons, it's problematic for most men. So I do agree that it's not a good life decision, but I still think it should be legal and it should be a personal choice. Just like I think drugs should be legal. I think most drugs are bad and you shouldn't do them. But it should still be a personal choice, whether you decide to do drugs or not. Like so, that was my argument. It's just that I'm kind of a libertarian, so I just believe like people should make their own choices, even if the choice is bad.
Um, yeah, but like then you get in that line about its choices are bad, like choices that people make and they make it and they don't realize that it can hurt them. Like it's personal choice. Like, oh well, I have the option to do it, I can do it, but like, should we allow them to do it if they can hurt themselves? That's really the question. Like,
Yeah, I'm not a big
there's
fan of. We're kind of getting into like political theory, but I'm not a
okay,
big fan of like the nanny state. The idea of the government deciding what's good for you and what's not good for you. I think the government's role is to protect us from hurting each other. So of course, me shooting you with a gun should be illegal because not only affects me, that affects you and your family. But I think for things where it only hurts you, which prostitution seems to be, it's like it fucks you over, but it's not going to fuck another person over. Then I don't think it's the government's role to regulate that. I mean, again, this is like largely political theory. I'm like largely a libertarian, but
okay. We don't have to go too much into politics. That's brought it up.
I'm not a fan of like the nanny state, like the government telling you can do this, you can't do that. I hate that shit.
I understand that, but like there has to be some rules. But I don't want to get too far into that as far as like legal things. But let's make sure that all parties. So if someone the debate thing, like the whole thing about clout chasing and things like that, people always confuse me of being like a fanboy because I support FreshandFit and stuff I do. And people call you a clout chaser because you go after them. So explain why you're not a clout chaser. This I'm not saying you are, but explain why you're not a clout chaser.
Sure. Yeah. That's like that's like one of my favorite slash least favorite attacks or whatever that I get sometimes because it's like so silly. The reason I'm not a clout chaser is because me doing these videos criticizing FreshandFit doesn't actually get me any clout. Actually, when I go after FreshandFit, I typically lose some subscribers. People in the comments will be like, "You're an asshole, unsubscribe." If you look at my most popular videos, my top 10, my top 20, my top 50, my top 100, none of them are about other content creators. So what actually gets me clout is making texting videos. Right? I've spent almost 3 hours on this debate, which is going to give me a fraction of the views that a 20-minute texting video would have gone. I could have shot cold approach infield. So it's like I'm not dumb. Like you can say many things about me, but I'm pretty intelligent and I have a pretty good grasp on how marketing works and what works for me and what doesn't. So if my goal is clout chasing, I'm failing miserably because this does not get me clout at all. Second of all, I think it's a disgenuine argument that FreshandFit throws around whenever anyone criticizes them. Even bigger channels like Ab and Preach, they just said right away, it's like, oh, they're just chasing clout. They're just chasing clout. They use that attack against anyone who's criticizing them. The reason they do that is because it allows them to avoid actually defending themselves. Because if you can categorize, it's a character attack, right? It's an ad hominem attack. Because if you label me as a clout chaser, then automatically all my arguments and criticisms hold less weight. So it's much easier to just call everyone clout chaser. This way you don't have to actually address the points they bring up. So one, again, to kind of repeat, one, I think is just not factual at all. And you can check me on that. You can look at my most popular videos. Like I understand if like these FreshandFit roast videos were what's getting me most of my views, then you can make that argument. But they're not. Like, people don't like it when I talk shit about FreshandFit or whatever. Some people do, but most of the time, it's not what gets me the views. People want to see texting videos from me and demonstration videos.
And I understand that, yeah.
And secondly, is because it's just intellectually disgenuine on their part because they do it because it allows them to dismiss the arguments. They have never once addressed any of the points I or anyone else has brought up. They just label us as clout chasers, and that allows them to dismiss all our arguments.
Okay. So what about on the other side where like if anybody supports them, they would be labeled fanboy. So like is that fair on the other side either?
It's not. It's definitely not. So I think you're only a fanboy if you are blindly defending them and you're ignoring all the facts. And you're not doing that. The guy who previously was on wasn't doing that. So I mean, I don't think it's fair to just label someone as a fanboy because it's the same thing. It allows you to dismiss their arguments. And I know you brought it to my attention that in the comments, someone called you a fanboy. It wasn't me. because I do have other people doing my comments, but I do probably need to talk to my team about that and tell them not to, make those categorizations, because it is a little bit intellectually disgenuine as well, because it dismisses your arguments. So so that it is good that you brought that to my attention.
Okay. Yeah. So I just that middle line, like as far as the debate thing, like I know like you can say that they're part of why they won't debate you is because you can like beat them in a debate easily. But like knowing like all right, my personal opinion of why they won't do it is because the only like you can see they're clear like they only do things for monetary reasons, like pretty much, right? So like say they debated Kevin Way Wilder and they won, what benefit did you get out of that? Like what they really want?
So let's just take me, because I don't like speaking for other people. Let's say they debated me. So that show would get a shitload of views. Multiple people would have said they'd love to see that if we promoted that properly. It would get a shitload of views. They would get a lot of YouTube ad revenue, and if they were able to beat me, it would elevate them. So there's a lot of people who go back and forth between our channels, and that would give them the edge. Like a lot of my fans would subscribe to them, and I would lose some fans. So it's the same way that when Abba and Preach was going out with Fresh and Fit, a lot of the Fresh and Fit crowd wound up turning over to Abba and Preach because they won that battle. So if they beat me in a debate, they would gain a lot of my subs, and the episode would get a lot of views in the first place.
We'll see it. I just know how they guys are. I couldn't because people kind of say it like it's maybe because they're scared, but I think the real reason they won't do it because monetary reasons. The way they harp on money so much is like I guess if you offer them like 50 grand or something like that, like, all right, yeah, I'll do the debate.
No, I wouldn't even pay them $1 for it. But I think that like if you look at some of the guests they have on, it's like they have some random people on that no one gives a fuck about. They have some good guests, for sure. I'll give them credit for that. They've had some really interesting guests, but they also have some guests that no one gives a fuck about. So if they debated me, again, this.
Wait, and don't you know Myron personally?
What's up?
Don't you know Myron personally?
I do. Yeah. I knew Myron before his channel was even started.
And he won't have you on even though you know personally? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, I don't want to like get too deep into past history, but there's a little bit of a backstory there. So basically what happened was Myron used to ask if he could come on my podcast before they had his own podcast. And I was pretty friendly with him, but we weren't like good friends. And I told Myron, like, I'll be like, hey man, you're my buddy, but you don't really have a channel or anything. Like no one knows who you are. And I knew he was planning on launching his YouTube channel. I'm like, hey man, like, listen, let's wait until you start your YouTube channel, you get a little bit of following, and then we'll do the collab, right? And he didn't really like that answer. He didn't argue with me, but I could tell he didn't really like that answer. And then he starts the channel. It started fairly slow at first, and then it took off. And dude, if you look at our early texts, me and Myron, it's just me giving him encouragement. I was like, dude, you're doing a good job, man. Keep up the hustle. Like I messaged him a lot of props because I was happy for him. He was, I'm happy. Like I feel camaraderie with other YouTubers. So I see him like doing good on YouTube. Like I felt happy for him. And then when he hit around like 5,000 or 10,000 subs, I was still like, noticeably ahead. I extended the olive branch. I was like, all right, man, you guys are taking off. Why don't you come on my channel? We'll do a stream. And then he got a little weird. He was like, all right, man, yeah, we're going to launch our course soon so we can plug that. And I was like, hey, man, respectfully, I can't let you do that because your course competes with my course. We can, I don't think it would be fair, but, we can talk about your YouTube channel. And then, if people find your course, that's fair. And when I said that they couldn't promote their course on my channel, which is very reasonable because their course directly competes with my course, he got weird. He just got really cold. And he was like, oh, okay, I'll think about it. So I think he just got pissed off that I wouldn't let him promote his course and that I didn't have him on until later. I didn't invite him on until later. And I think he kind of held that against me. And then he got kind of weird. And I was like, yo, dude, so are we going to do the collab or not? And then he was like, oh, well, Fresh doesn't want to do it. I was like, really? Like, Fresh barely knows me. Like, anyway, so it's ancient history. It's neither here or there. But yeah, there's a little bit of a backstory. But honestly, at this point, I I have no desire to go on their channel at all, on their podcast. I wouldn't even really trust them. It's more of like I haven't really been pushing for that debate. I've been pushing for debate with Rolo because I think that would be probably a lot more interesting debate. But if Myron wanted to do some kind of either a neutral platform or come on my channel for debate, I would happily have him on. But it'll never happen. I've been more pushing for having a debate with Rolo because I think that a lot of the ideas that Myron talks about, they come from Rolo. So I'd rather go to just like the source and debate him rather than debating Myron, who's going to be like riffing off things that Rolo says.
I don't know a lot about Rolo, so I can't comment on him. I know he knows basic things, but you think like Rolo does not know what he's talking about? Okay, yeah, that's a big thing. I did hear about like he's old to the game, and you guys say that he doesn't have insight into the game because he's old or something like that, or he's married.
Because he's been out of the game for 20 years. He's been out of the game since before the internet was even really a thing.
I can see that point, but like when I think about stuff like basketball, like Michael Jordan hasn't played for a while, but like doesn't necessarily mean he doesn't have good things to the game or he doesn't know what how the game works.
Michael Jordan was one of the best, if not the best, basketball player of all time. Rolo was not even good. So he's, and this is not just based on my assessment. He said that he's only had like 4 or 5 girls on rotation his whole life. Like, you're not that good if you only have 4 or 5 girls on rotation your whole life. His leg count is like 40 or something like that. He said it in his book or in his interview or whatever. So it's by his own admission that he was never good. So we can't compare him to Michael Jordan. That's not a.
Okay.
It's more of like a dude who played a little basketball in high school and then hasn't played in 25 years and is claiming to be like the best basketball coach ever.
Yeah, well, I don't know his accolades, but if you're saying this, like, I'll take your word for it. Like, if he is like then maybe we shouldn't be giving the advice, or maybe we should get back in the game. Who knows? Did we exhaust everything? I had a feeling this would take a while because I know I had a lot to say.
Yeah.
And I know we had a party. I don't. Yeah,
no, it's all good. It's all good, man. I'll go after. Yeah, I mean, I think these discussions are good though. Again, not for clout. People are gonna comment on that. It's just a good discussion. I think
I'm going for clout now.
I think it's good to have discourse and shit. And I think that I quite often I find that when I debate someone, when we hash things out, we actually don't really disagree on much.
Like real quick, go over the debate. Just anything you agreed on me on, or do you see a different light on what I said? Then I'll go vice versa. I'll talk about things that my side.
Well, you kind of offered a. I thought initially you were kind of excusing a lot of things, but what I did agree with you on is like you offered different interpretation of something that I just didn't interpret it that way. So when you said about the money thing, I completely agree with that. Like, yeah, of course, like making money, you'll build more confidence. I just didn't interpret it that way. And maybe you interpreted it correctly. I interpreted it incorrectly. I don't know. It was a pretty, they were pretty vague about it. Maybe they clarified in one episode that I just haven't seen. But, if that's like, the correct interpretation, then, yeah, that's good. Like, I agree with that.
Okay. My side, I do see your point about Rolo. I do agree with as far as the whole situation about how they about their hypocrisies. It's still more about I would just see more, and since they are gonna get more popular and whatnot, we're gonna have more evidence. So if this if from now to say next year, this time next year, they have nothing that comes out that is more evidence, I'm okay, yeah, but because I see what you're saying, and I agree. Cause I completely agree with you on the fresh side about that whole Miranda thing. So, but if there's more allegations by then, I'm okay, you guys gonna have to start to clean up your act. You're gonna have to you're gonna have to address this again and stuff like that. But for me personally, I feel there's not enough evidence to say okay, they should be doxxed. The word can be trusted. Basically, completely.
Well, I think that's up for each person to interpret themselves. I've never you will never hear me say, "Hey, yo, guys, don't watch the FreshandFit podcast. Stay away from them." I've never done that once because that's not my mo. I'm just bringing awareness to things that I see as problematic. Just to quickly recap some of the points that were made. Specific lies was saying the door is locked when it wasn't locked. The basketball player story and the 1K lay count. Things that were hypocritic. That I found I don't know why I'm butchering that word. Hypocrisy. Saying don't sit for women, don't pay for their OnlyFans, and then creating their own version of OnlyFans, and getting guys to simp for them. And they literally said on, and I'll have to find the quote.
Yeah, we didn't touch on that topic. Yeah, we didn't touch on that at all.
I think we touched on it briefly, but they went on what's his name, the roommates, and they literally said, well, these guys are going to simp for somebody, so they might as well simp for us. They're aware of this. DJ Academics saying it's their status that helps them, and Fresh getting butthurt and denying it, saying it's his game when he met his girlfriend by flexing his yacht. Saying, bring your man and flipping out on pearly things. You can excuse that and say, okay, well, they just had an incident 2 weeks ago. Okay, but, it still doesn't excuse that. It's just I saw that as hypocritical. Oh, bring your man. Pearly brings her man. Who is, again, just to be clear, he's not like some bum. He's a guy with 22 million people on TikTok. If they had like half a brain, they would have just networked with that guy because I'm sure that's a person that they want to network with. Like I personally do. You bring someone to my house that has 22 million followers on TikTok, I'm going to go out of my way to be nice to that person so I can network with them. So that was kind of hypocritic. And then just saying one thing and doing the other, like saying, don't lead with your wallet, but then there's cases of them leading with their wallet. So those are just like the quick ones I wrote down like right before we started. But it's like 5, 6.
There are things like I don't think they're perfect podcasts. I do think they do more good than harm. They definitely need to do more. Huh?
It's possible. I think that part is open to interpretation, but it's possible. I won't dismiss that.
But as far as like they do have more personal development to get to, like as becoming a better person. Like I understand like if it's my interpretation of how the situation went with Pearl. Even then, I would like okay, like a few weeks later, I would like Pearl, I flipped out on you because of this situation when I had with someone broke in my house, and I yelled at you. I'm sorry, but that's the reason why I got that aggressive. I think you should have went that route and reached out personally to do that.
But that never happened. I want to quickly comment on this. Don't forget the fake press releases. I actually don't have a problem with that at all. That's the reason I haven't brought it up. Fresh faked some press releases to get verified on Instagram. I have no problem with that. He's gaming the system to get verified on Instagram. I have no problem with that at all. So to me, that's not a point of contention.
Are there any comments for me that they want to ask specifically for me or want me to?
When his friends are fresh and fit, rolling down and sharp, you need to question his intentions just a way to promote his products. Yeah, I agree. I think Rolo is heavily, he just wants more people to buy his product. Okay. Lol, solid point. A retired 20-year-old boxer hasn't seen the gym in 20 years. Will have to convince me to take them on as a coach. Someone asked, what do I think about Sterling? Actually, I'm quite fond of Sterling. I like him. I think he's a good guy. I don't judge people based on their collaborations. So if someone goes on the Fresh and Fit podcast, I don't hold it against them in any way. I don't judge people for their associations. That's what Rolo actually came after me for. He said, well, how can I debate with your friend? Go ahead. What are you going to say?
I would only judge people that they bring. I would only judge people they bring on if you endorse them. If you say, yeah, follow their advice, and then that's the only time I would put some pushback about their guests. If they just have a guest and have to explain their story, explain their game, whatnot. But if you say specifically you endorse them, like follow this guy, this and that, that's when I would say okay, you got to choose people that you bring on if you endorse them or just what they do.
I mean, they've definitely done some questionable shit in terms of that. They had Bandman Kevo on, and he was basically talking about mortgage fraud. And Myron and Fresh didn't say a single thing. They just let him basically talk about how to commit mortgage fraud. So, but I generally never go after people for their associations. Again, Rolo did that to me. He's like, how can I debate Alex? He's friends with John Anthony. Who gives a fuck? You're debating me, not John Anthony. So I would never say Sterling, he's a bad guy because he went on Fresh and Fit. No, not at all.
No. Sterling's cool. I watch his videos. Now I'm playing. Uh, yeah, like I agree with you on that point. Yeah. I just like ethically like if they like people are saying something that like can potentially be harmful to people or like not really bad advice. If that's your guess and you endorse them, like yeah, follow this person and follow their advice. I'm like it kind of like especially if you criticize other people. Like if you bring on a person equally that has bad advice too, it's kind of like yeah. So that's where I would if it got to that point. I don't believe you had anybody except for like maybe Guste, but I kind of excuse her. But like it's different story case, but like anything else, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've had on guests like I've had Ask Nelly on my podcast, and I definitely disagree with her on a lot of things. But I thought it was a good debate, minus the fact that my Instagram got banned afterwards. This person's asked, Alex, do you think you should get finances in order before jumping into a relationship? Not necessarily. I don't think you need to, but I think you should work on both. So I don't believe in like this whole idea of focusing on one thing and then like until you get it, then you focus on other things. Get your finances in order while you work on your dating.
Yes, I agree with that. But then you kind of skip steps. You kind of play yourself to be like victim to like troubles, like because like then you're like, okay, yeah, I'll work on it, and while I'm doing this, and then you're like, oh shoot, then I need that finances now, but I'm still working on that. So like you kind of it's kind of a give and take. You can like I think you should be somewhere like at least decent in one if it helps the other. Like so it's my interpretation of that.
Yeah, can we talk about Fresh and his girlfriend Miranda, white chick he's smashing? Yeah, I'd rather not because I don't want to go after her because she's a civilian. She's not involved in this at all. So I really don't want to like go after her or comment on her. I'll just quickly state the facts on that. And the facts is that one, she was on seeking arrangement. Again, that doesn't mean anything in of itself. It just is what it is. And two is that Fresh has admitted that she didn't respond to him at first until he offered. He invited her onto the yacht, and that's when she responded. Those are the facts. You can interpret them in any way you want. But
on that situation, Fresh, if you want to clear that up, show us your DMs. You can clear that up. That's as far as you show your DMs about how you messaged her. That can clear it up in 2 seconds. So I would say for him to do that.
Someone says, no, if you show me one video that does X and your replies, go look for yourself. It's on you. He had to point her to a single. Yeah, I agree with that. Like it's such a I think it's like an intellectually disgenuine argument because clearly she's not going to be able to fact check you live on air when you have like 1,000 videos. So like if you said to me like, Alex, all I see is you hating on Fresh and Fit. I don't see one video where you're talking about like, pickup strategies. I wouldn't say, oh, well, go look for yourself, Junior. You did your research. I'd be like, okay, what about this video, this video, this video? And I instantly win that argument. Right? It's such an easy way to win if you actually have the proof. So yeah, to me that was like a cop out. Yeah,
I would double check that too. I'm gonna double check that to make sure he doesn't have any videos like that. But maybe that's right approach to do that.
This is the girls mostly want followers to promote their OnlyFans. I would agree with that. I think that's the kind of the issue that Fresh and Fit is running into is that most of the chicks who are coming on their podcast are like OnlyFans girls. Which are not, that's not the average girl. Like the average girl is not on OnlyFans. So it becomes this like circular cycle. It is what it is.
Maybe it's the girls that I see around, but the girls that I quote unquote starting to get like OnlyFans, maybe not to the highest degree. Like they do like it's like their main source of income. Like the girls to seem like I'm Fresh and Fit, but I do know a couple girls that are starting to like try OnlyFans, but like how would they combat that? What should they do? They're obviously in Miami, so should they move or should they try something else?
It's really hard at that point because the videos. So whenever I invite a girl on my podcast, she always asks to see like other podcasts I've done, and it's really hard for them at this point because most of their shit is like it's not something a girl sees that and she's like, ooh, this looks like fun. I love being lectured for 20 minutes about red pill theory. Most chicks are going to be like, ooh, unless she has a special interest like OnlyFans. And she's like, yeah, whatever. I'll just chill there for 2 hours, get drunk, and I'll make a shitload of money on my OnlyFans. through subscription. So I think they're in a really tough place with that right now. I don't know if there's a good solution, honestly. I don't know. Maybe start pivoting their content to make it more female friendly or something. At least not female friendly, but less confrontational. Like if you look at the vibe, quite often the vibe in their during their podcast is very tense. Versus if you look at the vibe during my podcast, like fun, we're laughing, we're having a good time. So it's like a vibe that girls want to return to, right? They're like, oh, this was fun. You know, we had a good conversation. Versus there, the vibe is like kind of confrontational and shit. So I don't know how they can fix that. Go ahead.
So, assuming that their theories are correct, like they say like things about females that are like really kind of like harsh. Assuming that they're correct, how could they present that in a way that the girls won't feel some type of way about it? Because like it's like assuming like you could say that's wrong or right, but like some of their theories were correct. How can they present that in a way that's less confrontational? Because they're gonna get mad either way. Like.
You can significantly mitigate how a girl reacts based on how you deliver stuff. And, you know, Myron will just be like, look, this is why you women are feelings. You know, you women are emotional and we live in a fact-based reality. Like shit like that, it's just going to piss off chicks. You know, there's no need to say that if your goal is to like, you know, not piss off the girl. You know, kind of the way I do it. Like when I disagree with a girl, I'm gonna look first. I hear her out. I let her finish. I don't interrupt her. And I say, okay, I disagree with you on that one. I say it in a playful way, right? And the girl's like, oh, really? Why? And then I say, listen, you brought up a good point, but so I give her like a compliment sandwich. I learned this doing sales. I start off with a compliment sandwich, say like, you brought up a good point, but, and I point out all the things she's wrong about. But again, that was a good point you brought up initially. So there are things the ways you can phrase things to make it a lot less confrontational. A lot of it is just like in your body language, your vibe, you know, how much hostility you have in your voice.
Have you ever said anything that's like quote unquote controversial about game to a girl? Like,
yeah, I mean, I've had chicks get pissed at me during my podcast. I had one chick who got pissed at me when I was talking about, I think it was paying for drinks or no, it was something about I mentioned that I was in an open relationship and she really didn't like that for some reason. But you know, she had her little moment. I just kind of, you know, let her kind of stew for like 5 minutes. I just talked to the other girls and she calmed down. And then afterwards, me and her had a laugh about it. I was like, you got pissed off when I said that. She's like, yeah, I did. I was like, yeah, you know, like it's a good thing you caught yourself. You know, so it's kind of like that. You know, we had a little laugh about it afterwards.
Speaking of, dang, should I do? Okay, you said you're open to anything, right? So,
what's up?
So like you have a girl, like okay, so about the FreshandFits, like their theories about the girls, like they say that like clout and all this stuff is important. Like personally, but you're a girl, do you think she'd be with you if you know you didn't have or the guy who you are, like the little status and all this stuff like
that? In terms of my YouTube and Clout, yeah, she absolutely would because one, I met her before my YouTube channel really took off. Two, she had no idea about what I did until a few months after we were banging. So for those two reasons, yeah, I don't really think she gives a shit about like, you know, my YouTube status or whatever. Yeah. Like the biggest factor is the fact that she didn't really know about what I did or anything about like my cloud or my lack of cloud or whatever, my YouTube channel until like a few months after we were banging.
Do you care about body count? That's another thing. Like,
not as much as most people. So unless the body count is like outrageously high, I don't really give a shit. Yeah, but if it's like super high, the reason I care is because it implies something about them. So a 20-year-old chick who's been with 300 guys, it's not the fact that she's fucked 300 guys per se. It's the fact that what is causing her to fuck that many dudes? It's probably insecurity, low self-esteem, daddy issues, right? So would I want to date that girl? Probably not. Not because of her body count, but because of all those other issues.
When FreshandFit say that, you think that's the same reason, or you think that's a different reason that they don't want to do that personally?
I think FreshandFit find themselves in a tough spot. It's like one of the contradictions is they talk about They talk about how they like a girl who's like they don't like a girl with a high body count. They like want a more traditional woman, right? Well, then at the same time, they also talk about like like I want sex on the first date. If a girl doesn't fuck me on the first date, you call another chick in front of them. That's the problem because the chicks who are gonna hold out and not fuck you for the first few dates are the chicks that they idealize, the more traditional conservative girls. So basically, they want a unicorn. They want a chick who's held out for every guy, but for some reason, when she goes out with Myron or Fresh, she decides to break all her rules and fuck them on the first date. That doesn't really exist. So I think that's like one of the tough spots they find themselves in. They want that girl who's more traditional and conservative, but they also want to fuck her on the first date. You can't have your cake and eat it.
I know. I know Myron's more. I'm not gonna say more Fresh. More Fresh has more leeway on that. I know mine for a fact is more like you have to fuck him first date. So I'll go more towards him on that point. Still, it's kind of a contradiction, but wow, what to say about that? Dang, I can't even think of something to say about that. Yeah, like as far as like no. Yeah, I can't say nothing really about that one. Yeah.
It is what it is. But yeah, is there any other points you want to bring up before we call it?
No. I think that's everything. Yeah, I think that's everything. No comments, no stuff.
No, I mean there's a whole bunch of comments, but nothing specific.
Great debate.
Yeah, it was a really good debate, man. And I thank you for coming on. And I applaud you because not a lot of guys have the courage to do that. So props to you, man. It was a good discussion. Yeah, man. Thank you for coming on.
No problem. Like, love your content. I'll always watch it. I watch FreshandFit, but I do love you too. I watch you first, and you help my game a little bit too. Like, I learned, yeah. So I got a little like, I'll give you credit for 2 of my lays. So like, I guess I owe you 2 lays back.
All right. I'll take 10% of it. Give me like a titty or something.
All right. Catch you later. Have a good night. Birthday party, right? So have a good night. Wish your boy happy birthday and do your thing, man. All right.
All right, bro. Have a good one.
Yeah.
Okay.
You too. Bye.
All right, guys. We're going to just answer a few more questions real quick before we call the stream. This has been a really long stream. Let me get water and then we'll answer some last questions. I got you. Yeah, I think this was a good discussion. I think it was good. Quite often I find that, when we do these debates that, we're really not as different as, we think. Like, we just eventually wind up, like, we're actually not really disagreeing on much. It'll be interesting if I ever debated Rolo, but I think me and him would disagree on a lot. So let's see if there's any, like, quick questions I can answer. I think there was one guy who was saying he really wants to debate. I think his name was John or something. So if you're still there, we can do that real quick before I jet. Let me see if there's anything that I can answer real quick. If you guys have any questions, just let me know in the comments, even if it's something you've already said, because I might have missed it. I like this. Not even FreshandFit fans believe Fresh is late count. That's funny. The Fresh NBA story is a classic. Well, yeah, I don't know what the fuck he was thinking with that. Okay, let's see. What do we have here? Plus, it's subjective. 4 to 5 rotation isn't low for most men. The average man sleeps with 7-1, so at very least Rolo is above average, and everyone's still having a high body count. Yeah, for a person who claims to really understand female nature, having a total rotation of 4 to 5 girls is really not enough of a sample size. That's like me saying that I'm an expert at basketball. I really master basketball, but I've only ever played 4 or 5 games of basketball. It's just really not enough at all to be an authority. Can you really call your shit open if you have a don't ask, don't tell policy? It's somewhat open. I mean, right now where we're at is It's closed on her part, so she hooks up with me, but I have the option of hooking up with other girls, but I can't date other girls. So, and we just try to have a good line of communication. That's kind of where we've been at for the last 2 months. We scrapped our Spotify because we just didn't really see the point in it. Alex, what's your take on the baby situation? I've been following it, so I honestly don't know. Do you know any other guys besides Joe Mulf and Fresh over 1K lay count? Honestly, no. I don't really think Fresh is over 1K either. But no, I don't, because it's a really, really high number. So it doesn't happen often. On Hinge, would you rather comment on a girl's pic or on her post? Probably on her pic. Okay, let's see if we have any other questions. First says he will do live stream clearing the SA situation. Ooh, I would love to see that. Okay, I think we covered everything. I'll give you guys another minute or so. If there's any lingering questions, I'll answer them. Alex, what's an outrageously high girl lay count? It really depends on how old she is and her situation. So for an 18-year-old, 50 might be outrageously high, but for a 30-year-old, probably wouldn't be that bad. So it just depends on a lot of factors. I don't have a hard number. Okay. Do we have any last questions? Do you have any other good dates straight to the house besides propositions besides alcohol? Penis. Be like, hey, you want this dick girl? No, I mean, straight to the house propositions. You can say you're going to cook her dinner. You can say drink some tea. There's plenty of options. All right, guys. If there's no other questions, I think that pretty much covers it. Again, good debate. This was fun. Pretty fucking beat from that, but it was a good discussion. I enjoyed that, and hopefully you guys found it valuable. At the end of the day, this is about providing value to the audience, or as FreshandFit calls it, chasing clout. We got an awesome video dropping tomorrow, and we're going to do a frame control demonstration, so check that out. Also, I'm going to be doing a debate on McTow Dictionary's channel tomorrow. It's going to be a 2-on-2 debate, and that one's going to be pretty interesting. So that's coming up tomorrow. Sunday, we have another in-studio podcast. We actually got a bunch of chicks coming in. We got one OnlyFans girls, too. So it's going to be an interesting group of girls. That's going to be on Sunday. So, yeah, guys, make sure you smash the subscribe button. Tell a friend. It really helps a lot. We're really trying to hit 100K pretty fast. We hit 100K on TikTok easily. But TikTok's been growing super fast. And YouTube has kind of lagged a little bit. So if you guys enjoying the content, it would really help if you guys, subscribe and you tell a friend. Help get the word out, because we do want to bump it up to 100K. And once we do that, we're actually going to have a 100K party. And we're not going to charge you guys anything. So it's going to be completely free. If you want to come, hang out, chill with me and some of the other guys, that's what we're going to do when we hit 100K. All right, guys. Thank you all for staying tuned, for coming in. Let's thank also for the guests who were here. And until next time.